Hello again, everybody, and welcome to 4-Star Chicago Sports. This is the Barely There podcast, and holy shit, are the rumors coming through the ceiling right now. From Crosby to Hendrickson to fans wanting Bradley Chubb to Tyson Bagent, maybe on a plane to Arizona. Who really knows? We're going to sift through all of this. We're going to take a trip into our draft room, take a look at some prime linebackers in this draft that maybe can help the Chicago Bears on day one, and maybe some guys that we'll have to develop on special teams. I got a couple sleepers in there that we're going to talk about, and we're going to get to all this right after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Woo! Just when you think we don't have anything to talk about, the conspiracy theorists give us tons to talk about, right? Is it true? Is it not? We're going to weigh it out. We're going to get the chat's opinion too here, because I don't know what we make of about a lot of this stuff. What's going on, Romy? Bear down. We're definitely going to get into this Max Crosby thing. First, let's check in with the boys. How we doing, Jay? How we doing, Kyle?
Fantastic. A little tired, but, hey, football and draft talk always gets me a little excited, so I'm wide awake right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm overwhelmed, man. There's a lot of stuff to sift through today, man. A lot of news. And it's not just the Bears, man. The NFL news, the Mahomes being restructured, all the franchise tag expectations came out today. It's just a lot of shit to sift through.
Yeah, we might be down on X today. We'll have to wait and see. They sent a warning out that it was down, so we might lose a few people.
Sean, it says connected right now.
It says active, but it says it might not broadcast for some reason. I don't know. I'm going to go on and check in a little bit here after we get going, see if it is shining through. We usually have a couple people in there, and no one's in there yet. So what's going on, Erica? J2K is in the house. What's up, Alan? All right, let's do this. So a couple of orders of business before we get to all this great trade rumors and free agent signings and all this other malarkey. Poles will be speaking at the Combine this coming Tuesday. He's set to be on the stage, they said, around 10 a.m., and he is set to address the state of the franchise and pending free agency and the draft that was broken a little bit earlier today. And, of course, by the end of the day, or the end of yesterday, I believe the Chicago Bears – or no, was it today? Was it today that the Bears rounded out their coaching staff?
Yeah, I think they finished.
They made it all official. They had those guys –
they were in the building on Monday, but I'm pretty sure this was like their introduction today for Will Lawing and Isaiah Ford.
And there you go, man. Press Taylor, obviously, we know, did a good enough job to get the promotion. Bears hired from within. Studsville comes over with a tremendous track record. That was an A++ hiring, in my opinion. Will Lawing, I don't know much about besides he was the wide receiver for Ben Johnson at the University of North Carolina. We'll get into him a little bit. And Isaiah Ford, obviously, they're saying a young up-and-coming coach, former Chicago Bear, Miami Dolphin, spent some time in the league here. He is now on the staff. So it looks like these additions might be just as good as some of the subtractions. When we talk about Isaiah Ford, obviously former NFL wide receiver, he was hired by the Bears to be the quality control coach this season. He played from 2017 to 2023, spent time with the Bears in his last season, transitioned into coaching under Ben Johnson and Miami. Worked with him at Miami. So everything I've heard, he's an up-and-coming young coach. I know you boys got a little bit more information. So what do you guys got on some of these new hires from the Chicago Bears?
I don't have too much. I mean, I think most people know about Press Taylor by now. He's been around the league for a long time. This Eric Studsville, I think he's a great pick for the Bears. He's supposed to be like a younger Eric Bieniemy. So, very vocal, very strict, very, hard going. And the other guys are younger. I don't know how much really, direct impact they're going to have in the game. But, with all the coaching hires from last year and how well we did, you got to imagine that these guys are good. What I like about it is the methodology of it. Let's get all these coaches signed, so now we can actually have a full staff that we can now start inquiring about players, because you want these guys' input, right? You're going to want it, especially a running backs coach. So I think they're doing things the right way.
Yeah, and I mean, there seems to be a theme here with Ben Johnson, the Chicago Bears. I mean, outside of a couple guys here and there, it seems to be a lot of youth added to the coaching staff. I know that a lot of people think that Isaiah Ford's up and coming, very smart, very intelligent. If you look up what people have said about him around the league, a lot of people say he's the next guru in the NFL, and very similar to Declan Doyle. A lot of the same things said. And then Sean, I'm not gonna lie, Studsville, we've talked about him before. He's an absolutely phenomenal coach. Every running back he's ever spent time with has had phenomenal seasons. Mostert, I think, had his best season under him. You've seen what Devon Achane's done in the NFL since he was drafted by the Dolphins. This track record speaks for itself. The other guy, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I mean, I've looked up. I know for a fact he followed Bill O'Brien around from staff to staff, regardless of where he went. But outside of that, man, I don't really know much about him. Like you said, Sean, he played a wide receiver for North Carolina University. At the same time, Ben Johnson was there as a quarterback, although Ben Johnson was the backup. So I don't know how much playing time they actually had together. But I think at the end of the day, it's basically Ben Johnson's buddy.
Yeah.
If you look at the track record.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit before we get in here. It might have been a buddy hire, but maybe he's going to do good and for the Bears, under Johnson. And I will tell you, though, like I said, you guys just reiterated, this Studsville hire is an absolute home run. When you look at this guy's resume, Marshawn Lynch, he coached for multiple seasons. Willis McGahee, Tiki Barber, as Kyle just mentioned, Mostert and A-Chain, C.J. Anderson to a Pro Bowl, Noshan Moreno, and his only 1,000-yard season under Studsville. Fred Jackson developed from practice squad to a top producer. This was you lost Eric Bieniemy, and everyone's like, oh, man, we lost this A-plus coach. Well, I think you just got an A++ coach in return. I don't know. Call me crazy.
They lost 2 coaches and brought in 3. So it's like Jason said, I think they're just trying to get as much help in the building as they possibly can. Obviously, guys, Ben Johnson's still young. He's still learning. He probably wants as much advice and help as he can possibly get. And then I think the more people you have on the staff, the more young, intelligent, up-and-coming coaches you have on the staff, the better, man. And I don't be surprised at all if the Bears have another good season if we lose another 2 or 3 or 4 coaches. That wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form.
That's a good sign, though. That's a sign of a really good, healthy team. And as much as it sucks and it hurts, that's good. Because perfectly honest with you, I think Dennis Allen is probably here for a while until maybe the Bears defense is, super strong, and then maybe he gets another, gig, a chance at a head coach. But the main coach, the main 2 people that we really need for Caleb is one guy, and it's Ben Johnson, and he's not going anywhere. So I think it's great.
Well, yeah, we talked about it yesterday, Jason. I mean, it's a little bit off subject, but the fact that now the NFL, when they were all the powers that be were talking at the Super Bowl, they were all like, "Man, Ben Johnson's kind of the new villain of the NFL." Well, you can only be a villain if you're winning. Nobody gives a shit about you if you're losing. So I'm not upset about it at all, guys. I know a lot of people are like, seems disrespectful, rude. I don't give a shit, man. I think there's more Mike Ditka and Ben Johnson than the Bears ownership group thought was going to be inside Ben Johnson, and I love every second of it.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you guys, man. And now that he mentioned his name, everyone say prayers up for the coach, man. He's going through some rough times. Might be coming to the end of the road here for the 86-year-old Iron Mike Ditka. So keep your prayers up. There's been some chatter on the internet, so we're all praying for the coach. He sits right next to me every day. Him and I together, love that man, and to his family, God bless, and hopefully wherever he is on Chicago's Gold Coast, he's resting comfortably. We're thinking about you, Coach. Big news of the day obviously came out. We're going to talk about Bradley Chubb. We're going to talk about Trey Hendrickson. We're going to talk about Max Crosby. We're going to get into this here at this first hour because I know Bears fans want to talk about it, and I want to unleash some fury on this. And yes, today the Athletic came out with the predicted price tag to be 3 years, $99 million, and average $33 million per season for this guy. Oh my lordy, help me!
Yeah, well, that's going to go down when nobody's willing to give it to him. I promise you that.
For here, coming off of IR, 31 years old, for that price tag, it's a little too steep for me, in my personal opinion. If that's the price with our cap situation on top of that, passing makes the most sense to me. Overcommitting to an aging player Yeah, that can clog up your flexibility a little bit. So, we've invested heavily on the defense with Deo and Montez Sweat and a couple of other guys, Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson. So to put that in there, if I'm going to invest my money heavily in somebody, for me, it's going back to the free agent show we did a few weeks ago. That's the big man in the middle, John Franklin Myers. I looked up on numerous sites from Sports Track to Bleacher Report to PFF. There was there was a couple other outlets that I looked at. They all have around the same number. He's looking for 3 years, 43 to 45 million, 14 to 15 million annually. Now you're changing the defense. Maybe you're helping Austin Booker, as the boys touched on Monday. Now you're getting this pressure up the middle. This guy has got a high motor. He attacks. He collapses the pocket, makes quarterbacks uncomfortable, which helps your defensive ends, will help your secondary. For me, if I'm going to allocate this money, it's still going to John Franklin Myers. He's the top pass rusher on the D-line that's hitting the free agent market. Make a big splash, sign him, and let Booker and Montez Sweat do exactly what they did, because in my personal opinion, Booker takes a step up in 2026. Boys,
yeah, I agree. I love Franklin Meyer, dude. I think that dude's a stud. I mean, well, I'm sure a lot of people do, because he is a stud, but I think the price tag might be just a little too high. I don't know that the Bears are going to, honestly, the more and more I dig deeper into it, I don't know that signing a big-time defensive end in free agency is the route that the Bears are looking, because of their cap issues now. Sending another big guy is going to eat up like everything you wind up saving on these contract differences. So as much as I would love to see him come over, I mean, great. I mean, I'd love to see any number one of these guys come over. I just don't know that it's financially feasible right now, especially since I think they're still in the middle of a rebuild, to be perfectly honest with you. I know we went to the playoffs. We won a game. That's great. But really, we got a lot of work to do still with depth on the offense, and really kind of like half the defense needs to be really figured out,
Hey, really quick, Kyle. Eric, are you thumbs downing signing Hendrickson or signing John Franklin Myers? I'm just curious.
I think she's actually talking about Chubb.
Yeah.
You're talking about Nick Chubb? Okay. I just wanted to, I wasn't sure.
Listen, man, if you can find a way, if Franklin Myers would be willing to come here on a 2-year deal, and we've talked about this in the past, the Bears are in pretty good shape next year when it comes to the salary cap. I think right now they would be $60 million over the cap next year going into next season without making a single move, obviously. But if you could find a way to get Franklin Myers here and push a ton of the salary back to next year and get him out of here before you pay Caleb Williams, I'm all for it, man, because he was top 5 in the NFL with defensive tackles and pressure rate for quarterbacks. The Bears need that. We've talked about this on the show 1,000 times, guys. They need to start creating pressure in the middle of the line. It's their defensive tackles right now between Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter. They're good rotational pieces, but they're not the answer, not the end all be all. I think Franklin Myers is kind of that guy. Jason's right. I mean, no matter what you do in this offseason, you're going to have to be very careful with your money. I mean, right now, the only guys I see available to the Bears at defensive end would be guys who are willing to take less money to play. Guys like Khalil Mack, who's come out and said, I'd be willing to take less money to go back to Chicago. I'd love to go back there. I loved when I was there. I loved being there. Outside of that, man, I don't think Trey Hendrickson's going to happen. I mean, first of all, Trey Hendrickson's not getting $33 million a year, guys. That's not happening. There's not a team in the NFL that's giving Trey Hendrickson $33 million a year for 3 years, going into his 35 age season at 31, coming off a major injury. He's not getting that money. So Trey Hendrickson and his camp, you know what that was, Sean? That was written by The Athletic, correct?
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson's camp came out 2 weeks ago and said he's looking for $21 million a year. I think that's probably where he's going to end up landing, somewhere around there, 2023, 24, somewhere around there. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near $33 million a year. If that price tag comes down, if I'm the Bears, I'd consider it, depending on how much cap you could free up in this offseason with all these restructures. And maybe sounds like Tremaine Edmonds is pretty much the writing's on the wall here, guys. I think he's pretty much going to be a cap casualty for the Chicago Bears, which sucks because I don't think he's the best linebacker in the world, man, but I have nothing against Tremaine Edmonds. I like him a lot. I think he's
good dude.
Yeah, been nothing but a professional since the Bears brought him in. Maybe he didn't live up to the contract, but before he got injured last year, he was playing out of his mind. Sometimes things just don't work out. He's certainly not worth $18 million a year, so I wouldn't blame the Bears if they cut him. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of different things they can do, but the Bears do have to address the pass rush in free agency at some point. It doesn't have to be Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby, but if you draft a guy in the first round at 25, a defensive end, he's going to take time to develop. So you're going to be in the same exact spot you were this last year. You need somebody to come in and make an impact immediately. And I think a guy like Khalil Mack could probably do that because you would be using him in situational. Yeah, you wouldn't. He wouldn't be
Rotational,
on the,
yeah.
he wouldn't be on the field all the time. I think if you gave Khalil Mack some time off, he'd probably get after the quarterback if he's nice health and refreshed. But I don't know, man. Let's face it, guys. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, this is not the best defensive end class in the world when it comes to free agency. And the reason is because most teams don't let good defensive ends leave. They just don't. Yeah. It's like the good tackles.
Until they approach 30, right?
Yeah, you just. I mean, and I'm sorry. I know we haven't got into it yet, but I'm a huge no on Bradley Chubb all the way around, man. There's nothing. To me, Chubb has a very similar playing style to Montez Sweat, and all Bears fans have done for the last 2 years is bitch about Montez Sweat. So you really want to bring another guy in that's basically the same. He's good at setting the edge. He's good at playing the run, but he's a what? 8.5, 9 sack guy.
Yeah, you already have.
He's only had 3 seasons with double-digit sacks, so he's not like gonna.
Yeah, I just don't
beater, you know.
I just don't think the productivity is worth the money. I just don't think it is.
When we talk about Bradley Chubb,
to me, it would be desperate. It'd be desperate. Yeah, I don't dislike him. I just don't think it's worth the money. I don't think it's worth the money.
You know, his role would be similar in a 4-3, but he's played a 3-4 generally in his whole career. You know, outside linebacker, edge type, and he would bring some power to the edge, run stopping ability. You know, but his ideal role is high snap count rusher. You know, if the Bears, I know you don't like him, Kyle. We talked about this, I think, yesterday too. I'm not saying sign him. If this was the guy that the Bears got here, I'm kind of with you and saying, hey, man, this is the guy that we already do have here. But then you are you going in the Broncos route where you don't have a guy who gets 10 sacks here? You have a bunch of guys who get 8 and you still end up with 50?
Yeah, but
on the season,
how much money can you pay 2 players to get 16 sacks?
Yeah, and that's true too. You know, depending on what he wants. You know, and I think he's already getting paid, isn't he? He did sign a big contract in Miami. I do know that.
Jason, I saw you put the numbers up there. So
where was it?
He's still being paid.
Chubb will earn a base salary of $19.4 million and a workout bonus of $100,000 while carrying a cap hit of $31.2 million and a dead cap value of $23.8 million. So I can see why Miami wants to get rid of him. But
I don't know how that works. So are the Bears responsible for part of that, all of it, none of it, and they have to pay him separately on top of that? Like, I don't know how any of that works. So I'd have to really dig into the numbers. But if they're responsible for anything in the double digits for Bradley Chubb, I'm out, man. I'm sorry, I'm out. I just don't think he's as good of a player. I think people are still holding on to the fact that Bradley Chubb was drafted really high, and people think that he was supposed to be a stud in the NFL. It just never really panned out that way. It's just not who he is. He's very
like 5th overall or something like that.
Yeah, and he's not a bad player. He's very similar to Montez Sweat. Very similar. Yeah. Like he does a lot of things well. He just doesn't get after the quarterback. He's not phenomenal getting after the quarterback. And right now, all Bears fans have done is bitch about the pass rush. We need one of those guys. John Franklin Myers is your answer. That's your answer because he collapses the pocket. So it's going to make life a lot easier for the Austin Bookers and the Montez Sweats of the world. If you can collapse that pocket and the quarterback can't step
you may not need an edge.
Single down. Yeah, you might have them here already. And I maybe Deo's pressures turn into sacks. I mean, that's really that's some really high hopes there for Deo, but he ain't going anywhere. He ain't going anywhere.
For me, at 30 years old, I think he's, I think at 30, he's going to, whatever team he goes to, is going to become a primary rotational piece, and I told you guys this before the show. I think my favorite fit for him is in Tampa Bay, especially if Tampa Bay ends up in this draft with an Avril Reese or a Sonny Styles, as some of these mock drafts have had the Bucs going that route. But that's my guy. And if it wasn't, maybe the Tennessee Titans. Who took the Tennessee Titans head coaching job? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
That's the 49ers defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, Robert Saleh. So we'd have to see what Saleh thinks of Chubb. But, when you look for pieces, you look at teams that run 3-4s, San Diego, the Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers run a 3-4. This guy's primarily played in a 3-4. So for me, I'm saying I'd pass on him, especially at that high value at 30 years old. I'm with you, Kyle. I'm an out. If the Bears got him, man, I'd probably be a little disappointed.
And I know it's just rumors, and I know Jason, you hate rumors, but from what if you read all about all the guys who are projected to be franchise tagged this offseason, I think 4 of them are defensive ends. Jalen Phillips for sure. They are projecting that the Eagles are going to franchise tag him. And there's another guy, a guy that you were talking about, and when we did the free agency show, Jason, I forget it's a really weird name, but there's a couple guys who are not going to be. The Bears probably thought were going to be available, who are no longer going to be available.
Who was your boy? What was his name from the Chargers? Odafe.
Odafe Odawe.
That's the other guy who they are saying is almost 100% guaranteed franchise.
Because he's great. You know,
the options are getting thinner, guys. They're getting thinner.
Really quick to go back to what Kyle said, it is being reported. And I wanted to go over this too, because we're going to get into this Max Crosby thing. But Adam Farrell is a gentleman who works with NFL Network, and his sources have told him that Tremaine Edmunds is set to be released by the Bears. There are some sources out there saying that Tremaine Edmunds has been told by the Chicago Bears he will be released when at the appropriate time. But the reason I bring up Adam Farrell's name is because I did a little deep dive into him, and just a couple of hours ago, he said he is reporting that the Chicago Bears are willing to do a 2026 first-round pick and a starter for defensive end Max Crosby. They are not willing to give up a 2027 first-round pick. So, that being said, who knows? Maybe the Bears did call and say, hey, you guys need DJ Moore? We have a need. We'll give you – here, let me ask you guys this. At 25, in this year's draft, are we getting anyone better than Max Crosby?
No.
My problem with some of these rumors is, like, if a GM is doing his job, he's probably calling all 31 other teams and just talking to the GMs and seeing what's going on. That doesn't mean that they're going to make 31 moves. It doesn't mean that every player they inquire about. Sometimes I'm sure there's got to be smoke and mirrors, thinking about what other teams are going to do. So you're going to make some inquiries. These guys all know each other. They go to GM meetings. I'm sure it's not as formal as it may sound. You tell a reporter, you don't really give your name because they're not going to reveal their sources, which I understand why they do that, but it makes me sometimes worry because it's like one source material. But, we'll get to it in a second here about, some players, about inquiring and interested and intrigued are some of the words, and then we just take them and run with them. But I don't see the Bears doing it for the same reason as I was saying before. He's just too darn expensive. I would love Max Crosby on the Bears. Love him. I think it'd be a perfect fit. His style, his relentless pursuit. I think Erica or Jedediah just mentioned it. That video. I don't know, Kyle, if you had a chance to watch it on Max Crosby's podcast. It's a great 1 hour little video. I mean, those two guys they're like friends. I mean, they literally have the same type of attitude. I heard somebody on the radio joke that they were trying to out-chill each other. But, on the field, Max Crosby is a monster. He's a game wrecker. He's a game changer. And any team in the NFL that says they don't want him is lying to you. I just don't know. His price tag is going to be really high. And again, it's going to take up like 50 to 75% of the money that they're going to want to spend this offseason to make the defense better.
Well, wouldn't you, if you're trading DJ Moore, be exchanging that contract for that contract? So you're kind of in the same spot because they're making.
Yeah, but I think DJ Moore is not enough to sweeten the deal, because it was DJ Moore in a first for Max Crosby in a fifth. Why would they give us back a fifth? I think it was more like DJ Moore a first and maybe a third this year, and like a third, the year after is probably what they want for Max Crosby. And I'm probably sure they want like 2 or 3 first round picks. They're going to want the Max, the Myles Garrett deal. I guarantee.
Well, I was going to say, what I heard today was they are looking for a package very similar to the Micah Parsons trade.
Or Micah Parsons. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And if you do that, they gave up Kenny Clark. I think Kenny Clark's at the tail end of his career. DJ Moore's still got some serviceable years left in him to be a top flight wide receiver in this league. Kyle, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, first and foremost, the Max Crosby situation is very interesting because the GM and coach came out today, Clint Kubiak and the GM came out today and said they are not looking to trade him in any way, shape, or form. They think he is the cornerstone of that defense. They think he's the Energizer Bunny that gets the rest of the guys going, gets everybody motivated, and he's a huge reason why that defense was not absolutely miserable last year, even though they were on the field constantly. Now, listen, How long did Jerry Jones tell us that he was going to sign Micah Parsons? For 2 years.
Well,
If he doesn't want to sign, or if he doesn't want to play, if he's like, I'm not going to play. So if you guys don't trade me, I'm just going to go sit at home and play basketball in my gym. Then at the end of the day, they have to trade him, whether they like it or not. Now, are the Bears in a position to be giving away a bunch of future draft capital? I don't think so. I think you're probably still too far away from having a complete roster to be giving away multiple first round picks. If the Bears could somehow swindle them into, like Jason said, DJ Moore, a first this year, a third this year, and a third next year, that's something I would consider. But I mean, that's still, for me, that's a large asking price. Now, listen, guys, we all know that when your quarterback's on a rookie contract, that's when your window begins to win a Super Bowl, right? We all know that. We've talked about that numerous times. That's your best chance to win a Super Bowl because you could pay everybody else and your quarterback can carry you to a championship. If the Bears felt like they were a Max Crosby away from winning a championship, I'd say pull the trigger, because that's what the goal is, right? To win a Super Bowl. That's the goal. If you feel like you're one piece away from winning a Super Bowl, do it. But realistically, guys, how many people in that building think the Bears are one player away from winning a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I mean, if you trade 2 first-round picks and to get Max Crosby, you're like, well, we're a couple players away, but Max Crosby certainly helps. You better be damn good at drafting in the second, third round, which the Bears have not been.
We still need like 2 linebackers. We're still going to need, a cornerback and maybe a
tackle,
safety. Or
safeties. I mean,
we still need like another DT. I mean, there's still a lot of work.
Kevin Byard,
all that capital you're going to spend on the defense, you're going to throw into one guy. I think it's like you're the Packers and you think you have your roster set. And now, yes, let's get Micah Parsons, and that's going to kick us over what we need. That's how you make that move. And that's why I think the Bears did with the Khalil Mack trade years ago is, hey, man, I think we got this. Let's get Khalil Mack in here, and just never panned out.
No,
I mean,
honestly, panned out for anybody. It's never panned out for anyone. When's the last time a stud defensive player was traded and the team that acquired him won the Super Bowl within the next 2 years? I've looked it up, guys. Outside of Reggie White.
I was about to say Reggie White. That's it, dude.
Outside of Reggie White, I've just never seen it. I mean, the Khalil Mack missed a ton of time here. I think almost 40% of the games he was on the Bears, he missed. Micah Parsons already tore his ACL. I mean, everything is a crapshoot. If you go trade away a ton of draft capital and a ton of salary cap for one player and he tears his ACL, you are now in a really big hole, because you're missing 2. And on top of that, guys, and Jason, we've talked about this. Your first round picks, you get a 5th-year option. So you get a stud. Anybody in the first round should ideally be a stud, correct? On a cheap deal for 5 years. Or you can get rid of 2 of those guys for Max Crosby and have him here for 3 years for really, really expensive contract. That's a tough situation Ryan Poles is in, man, because I think the Bears believe they can win the Super Bowl next year. I think they believe that. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying I necessarily agree, but I think they believe they can win the Super Bowl next year. So, but in order to do that, they're going to have to. Everything's going to have to be perfect. They have to nail every draft pick. They have to make sure they're really good at restructuring these contracts, putting money aside for Caleb Williams in the future. They have to absolutely kill this offseason. This has to be Ryan Poles' best offseason as a general manager if the Bears realistically believe they stand a chance of winning the Super Bowl next year. That's just me. And you know what? If the Bears were a healthy team all the time, I think they'd be much closer. But you don't know what you're going to get from Kyler Gordon, right? We don't know. TJ Edwards is coming off of a broken ankle.
Mm-hmm.
God knows how that's going to pan out. I mean, you just can't account for injuries. So like you said earlier, Jason or Sean, one of you guys, it's not just about adding pieces to help you win a championship. It's about adding depth, because you're it's the NFL and you're going to lose 4 or 5 guys throughout the season.
Yeah. And I think Mikey just said something about the cap in here, and I'm not worried about the cap. I know everyone's worried that we got a tight cap and all this other rigmarole. And I'm just going to say this. The Chiefs went into the postseason, or after the season last year, $58 million over the cap.
They just cleared $40 million by re-signing or restructuring Mahomes again.
Yeah, they still got Nick Bolton re-signed. I'm just trying to make sure they got Kristen Fulton re-signed. They got Jalen Moore re-signed. They got Mike Pennell re-signed. They got Trey Smith re-signed. And they were almost $60 million over the cap. A good GM's going to sharpen up the pencil. He's going to figure out a way to get the parts that he needs and the way to get it done. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I mean this, and I'm going to drive this home. This is the most important offseason for Ryan Poles as the GM. when you're sitting there with 95 million or 100 million under the cap and you can just move pieces around, that's great. Right now, you're tight. You got to make the right moves, make the right decisions, sign the right players, bring the right people in. Don't sign bad contracts like Deo and Grady Jarrett. And, this is so huge, man, what this guy's going to do, how he's going to sharpen up the pencil and get this thing right to keep the Bears. Because if you look at these websites, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, any sports site that's at the end of this regular season, the number one team on the top that will not make the playoffs next year is the Chicago Bears, because everybody thinks this season was 17 games of luck. That's all I can take away from it. They won the division. They were lucky. They won 11 games. They were lucky.
Well, it's not. Unfortunately for the Bears, it's not just the Bears that the Bears have to worry about. I mean, you had two teams who played in the NFC Championship game who are two top 5 teams in terms of salary cap spending this offseason. I mean, Seahawks are going to be a lot better next year. The Rams are going to be a lot better. The Rams, I think, are number 4. I mean, you're going to add more talent to Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Cardinal. I mean, the Bears have to keep up with these guys, and I just don't know. You got to nail the draft, man. You got to nail the draft. He has to nail this draft. Absolutely. You cannot have a 3rd round pick cut after a 2nd year like Zach Pickens. You cannot do that shit. You have to nail this draft. And unfortunately for Ryan Poles, as much as I think he's done good here, he put himself in this position because of, like Sean, you said, the money we paid Davis, the money we've paid Deo, the money we've paid
his free agent record is not great.
Yeah, and it's I feel like he's
fired.
I think he's probably starting to learn a little bit. I think he's probably going to be very weary of signing these massive contracts like Deo and Grady Jarrett. He's probably not going to do a ton of that in the future. I think he's going to be more inclined to go build this team through the draft. But yeah, he's put himself in this position. He's got to find a way to get out of it because, man, there's just so. I mean, you guys, the Deo money might as well be dead money. That might as well be dead cap. Because when he was on the field last year, I didn't even hear his name. Let me ask
you this, though. When it comes to Deo, and just hypothetically thinking, say they sign John Franklin Myers, and then you draft Lee Hunter at 25. Now you got 2 big guys in the middle, rotational pieces with Gervon here, and all of a sudden, as you stated a little bit ago,
Shamar Turner is still going to play,
and Shamar Turner, who's versatile, can play on the edge, put his hand in the dirt. He can do either or. But do you think that Deo, if they're collapsing the pocket and he's actually has someone working the middle, that those pressures can turn into sacks and he can actually have a better year? I mean, the guy got to the quarterback. Getting to the quarterback wasn't the problem. Finishing was his problem. He had almost 50 pressures. You know,
the problem with pressures is it's not like an accurate stat. It's almost arbitrary. And depending on what website you go to or statistician you go to, they kind of differ a little bit. I mean, I've saw like some of them like drastically different. I'm more interested in like quality pressures. Like I want a hand in the face. Yeah, you didn't touch him. You didn't get a sack. You didn't anything. I want like a hand in the quarterback's face. You know, I want you to be the reason why he had to scramble out. To me, that's a quality pressure, not just you got into the backfield, because sometimes that's what they consider a pressure. And to me, that doesn't work. To answer your question, listen, we all know what a really, really, great defensive tackle does for a defensive line. It changes the entire defensive line. Everybody gets better, it's just like any good player at any position group. You know what I mean? A really good, quarterback makes the whole offense look better, right? A really good wide receiver can make an average quarterback look even better. So, but if you're getting pressure up the middle, the quarterback has really very limited options. He can't step up in the pocket now because you have to start double teaming this guy. You're getting pressure on the edges. So you're almost stuck in the pocket. You can't scramble out. It's devastating. And by the way, it really screws up the run game, which to me is even maybe more important. So to answer your question, that was a long way to answer it. Yeah, I think he could get better. I don't think he's going to have like 12 sacks, but maybe he's got 8, which is better than the 0 he had this past year. So,
unfortunately, Kyle, we are down on Twitter. We are not broadcasting. That sucks.
Yeah, any answer I give is going to be subjective. It's going to be opinion. I can't. It's impossible to tell you what Deo is going to do next year if the Bears create stroke creating pressure in the middle. Now, I will say this: we've talked about Crosby, we've talked about Henderson, we talked about Chubb. I think defensive tackle is much more important position for the Bears this offseason to tackle than defensive end. I think the Bears need to start creating pressure up the middle, and I think it will make everybody better, like Jason said. I just don't. no matter what Deo does next year, for me personally, now that you've already had a wasted year from an injury and he wasn't playing well before the injury, I think he already is not going to live up to his contract. You've already lost a year of this guy. I don't think he was. I think was another guy that Ryan Poles signed solely based off of potential and not off of what he's done and shown that he can do on the field. Can he get better, Sean? Can he go back to, I think his best season in the NFL was about 6-7 sacks? Can he do that? Probably, sure. But
it's a torn Achilles, though.
But I mean, if the Bears sign John Franklin Myers and draft a tackle, like you said, Sean, that fixes a lot of problems for the Bears. A lot. That makes it. You're talking about a completely different defense now. You're talking about a defense. Like Jason said, first of all, if you can't run the ball, you're now putting every single game solely on the opposing quarterback. And the Bears have an opportunistic secondary. We know that. Now, listen, they're going to lose Nashawn Wright. They're going to lose Tremaine Edmonds, and they might lose Kevin Byard. That's a big chunk of the takeaways. That's a big chunk of the takeaways that we had last year. I mean, the Nashawn Wright and Kevin Byard led the team. So I don't know if they're going to be as opportunistic, but yeah, at some point the Bears need to address this defensive tackle position. Listen, I like Grady Jarrett as a rotational player. I like Trevon Dexter as a rotational player. I like Shamar Turner as a rotational player. But are any of those guys like Jalen Carter, Aaron Donald, Braden Fist? No, absolutely not. And at some point the Bears need to bring one of those guys here. And if it's John Franklin Myers, I'm all for it.
They may get that at 25. We went over D tackles on the show, what was it, 2 weeks ago? And there's a few there at 25 that could really make a defense, really make a change onto this defense. And as we talk about that, before we get into the Tyson Bagent movement,
Sean, real quick, just address a couple of these chats real quick because these guys are on fire right now. So Dwayne says, Turner, I hope he stays on the outside. Seen him get pushed all the way to the sidelines in a game. Sad face. But, at the same time, remember, man, he's a rookie last year. And defensive tackle is a tough transition in the NFL. So I don't think we've seen like the ceiling or the potential of Shamar Turner, especially coming off a broken leg and then dealing with that massive injury last year. I think he will get better under Dennis Allen. Scroll says, does anyone remember the KC New England first round picks were during their dynasties? I don't.
No.
I'd be lying to you if I said I did. I mean, I know that they took Patrick Mahomes in the first round. I know that. I can tell you that. And I know Tom Brady's more of an anomaly. You're not going to find a Hall of Fame quarterback in the sixth round very often. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are certainly a good draft.
Wait, didn't they draft Tyreek Hill?
Oh yeah, but he was like a fifth round pick.
He's a fifth round pick.
Well, and remember, Ryan Poles was
Travis Kelce.
Remember, Ryan Poles was the director of scouting when they were building those championship teams. So I mean, it's listen, the Bears. There's ways that the Bears could become competitive enough to win a Super Bowl. It could be a very good team next year. I just think for the first time in the last 5 years, I think this is the smallest margin of error that they have for the last 5 years. I think they have to fine tune, like Sean said, sharpen the pen. You got to be really, really smart and really, really good at drafting. If the Bears want to change this defense and take them from where they were ranked 28 last year, I think, and bring them into the top 15 or even, dare we say, top 10, you better make some damn good moves this offseason, man.
And speaking of moves, because this gentleman came out and said he would like to be a Chicago Bear and would take a pay cut, that would be one Christian Wilkins, who signed that big deal leaving the Miami Dolphins for the Raiders, that 4-year, $110 million deal, $84 million guaranteed, produced 17 tackles, 2 sacks, 6 QB hits before suffering that injury back in week 5 of the season. And this was a Jones fracture inside the 5th metatarsal there. And I can tell you, as a guy who's about to have foot surgery here, foot pain sucks, man. Apparently hasn't fully recovered, tried to come back and it did not work. Typical recovery is 3 to 4 months, 6 to 8 weeks for athletes just to get back on their feet, 3 to 4 months for full recovery, which he did. And then apparently reports in July indicated that it didn't go as planned. The Raiders wanted him to have another surgery. He didn't want to have it, which then led to his release. Of course, there was the whole grabbing balls and kissing guys, and he said he was joking around. Former teammate Adam Butler said, well, he's not disclosing any specific details, expressed concerns, and suggested that he should seek therapy, indicating the situation was just more than a football dispute. Other reports said it was just a messy situation with the Raiders. But Kyle, we know about this guy.
Yeah, you're really selling him.
I'm a hard pass on him. He's a locker room cancer. He won't listen to the team doctors. I mean, why would you want him on your team? I mean, if he's going to be like a league minimum, yeah, I'll give him a shot. But anything more than that, I don't want the guy.
That's unfortunate because, man, when
He was
a stud
in Miami, he was absolutely unbelievably incredibly good. He was, I mean, one of those names that's mentioned almost every single play when he's on the field. He was just a force to be reckoned with. But
Kyle, you want to know how good in 86 games? In 86 games, 372 tackles, 22 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries. He set the record in 2021 for defensive tackles, and then in 22 led defensive lineman again with 98. He was an absolute beast, dude. Absolute fucking beast in Miami.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Sean. There's a big difference between, you know how guys are. We've all been in locker rooms. We've all played sports. There's a big difference between like ass grabbing, as they call it, or sexual harassment. You know, like, there's a big difference. I'd have to, I mean, there's so many different things that came. They try to keep all this stuff hush hush, so you're never probably gonna know exactly what's happening in there. But if the latter was the case, if he was being accused of sexual harassment, I don't want him anywhere near Chicago.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think he should be in the NFL. But if he's just kind of a goofy guy and he's a little out there, and some players just can't get used to that, and he come to Chicago and be like, hey man, I'm done playing games. I want to play in a championship. I'll play for $1 million. I don't see what would hurt. How it could hurt you to bring him in here and see what he's got. I mean, I would definitely make sure that A, my doctors look at that foot in every way, shape, or form, and B, make sure he is in really good shape, like really good shape. He's got to be like in the best shape of his life. But if he's asking for anything north of $2-3 million, I'm out.
I'm out.
He's just like I'm saying, all the signs point to he's not a guy that's going to help build your team. His talent is undeniable. You know what I mean? But it's
and Jason, you said it. The Bears got a good thing going in the locker room right now. It's good. They
all love each other. They all want to be there.
It's a family. If you bring some guy like this in and he starts fucking that all up, that would be heartbreaking for the Bears.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll be honest with you, because of that voided contract, he's still in like legal matters trying to get that money back because they voided it all. He lost all that money, and I would be fighting it too if I was him. That's a lot of money to just walk away from. But you know, the NFL has a habit of not liking guys when they start like suing and filing lawsuits and do it. They don't like that, and you get shunned by the league. So
yeah, these owners, it's a
Brian Flores. Anybody?
It's a fraternity, man. How about Le'Veon Bell? Like, oh, you're going to hold on to the Steelers? You think we're going to sign you? No.
Gone.
Go to the Jets, bud. Go to the Jets. It's these. You're right, Jason. It's a fraternity. These owners all talk to each other. They're all buddies, man. If they feel like a player is screwing up the balance of the NFL, they all are like, all right, he's done. He's out.
Yeah, well, GM wants to be the guy that picked him up, and then he does the same shit, and now your locker room is worse off, and it can ruin. You know, you definitely don't want that guy. Like I said, if it's like, hey man, I'm going to sign you a 1-year league minimum. Come in here. You're probably not going to start, but let's see what you got. Okay, all right, I'm okay with that because it doesn't really cost you that much. But man, like you said, $1 or $2 million.
Maybe get him his own dressing room, his own locker room.
Yes.
I like Scrolls' comment here.
He's on that Diddy protocol.
I don't know, man. I never really read into the stories, but there was a lot of guys who came out on the Raiders who were like, he's not playing around. This is not a joke. He's there's something wrong with him.
Those players would be like, hey man, bring him back. If they thought he was a really good player, they really wanted him, they'd be asking for him. And they're not.
Yeah.
And I really want to get your guys' opinion on this. I'm a hard no. It was Joe Marcy from Pro Football Sports Network and Fox Sports that came out about it was 14 hours ago when I wrote this down, so probably about 18 hours ago now. Cole Kmet was not nearly as productive in his 6th season under Coach Ben Johnson. Kmet collected 30 receptions for 347 yards, both the lowest numbers since his rookie season in 2020. Kmet had collected a tight end impact score of 73.3, placing him 36th among tight ends. Fox Sports lists Kmet as a cut candidate because his role has been reduced, and getting his contract off the books would help the Bears make a couple of moves in free agency. I'm going to say this. Foster just said it. It's lying season. I think that's a load of shit. I don't want Cole Kmet going anywhere I love that dude, and I think he's an important part of this foundation of this franchise and what they have going on right now. That's just my thought on it.
What he does isn't in the numbers as much as it is. And honestly, if they didn't have Colston Loveland, his numbers would have been great. But Colston Loveland took away a lot of the targets, a lot of the touchdowns, and that's just the way it is. I mean, honestly, nobody on the Bears offense was stellar, right? Not a single player. We love Colston Loveland, but it's not like he had 1,200 yards, 600-700 yards. That's it. Everybody had like 600-700 yards. That's what everybody had. I think that what he does in blocking and in passing and as a leader in the room, as probably a player coach for Colston Loveland, he's a big guy too. You got to remember that we still have a left tackle issue to solve, and he's 6'4", 6'5", solid muscle. The dude is a giant human being. If he ate more, he probably could be an offensive lineman. And he does have great hands. We've talked about his catch rate on this show before. We've talked about his ability to fall down after the catch, which is I think Kyle's favorite thing about him. But, look, I think the Bears do love him. They wouldn't have re-signed him and extended him if they didn't. And I think what he shows all the other players, like, hey, I'm a guy that's a veteran, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to block and I'm going to take the hits, and I'm not going to go run a route. I'm going to eat some knuckle sandwiches here on the offensive line. And I think that goes a long way for Ben Johnson and the staff there to say, hey, look, this is the guy we want you to be like. And if you do it, you're going to get a second contract. And then that shit just trickles down to the rest of the offense.
Hey, really quick, Kyle. I just want to let everyone know, I know they were having this problem on Monday. We're having the same problem. These chats, there's just like 30 that just came in at the same time.
Yeah, it's been doing that lately.
I don't know what the hell is
lagging, and we're getting, I feel it. You guys, please don't think we're ignoring your chat. We're getting like 20 at the same time, so we have to scroll back up to the first one that came in. It's been doing this for the last couple of weeks, but yeah. To answer your question about Cole Kmet, Sean, I mean, first of all, I think the tight end 2 in Chicago is more important than any other team in the NFL. And you can prove it because the Bears run more 12 and 13 personnel than any other team in the NFL. So your tight end 2 has to be a damn good player. This isn't like most of the teams in the NFL where their tight end 2 is the same role as Durham Smythe. That's not what he is. Cole Kmet is here to, on certain game plans, he's going to have to block and do the nitty gritty, like Jason said, the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. And there's certain games where they're going to ask him to catch game-winning touchdowns against the Eagles or game-tying touchdowns against the Rams in the playoffs. Like, that's who he is. And the best thing about Cole Kmet is it doesn't bother him. If that's what they ask him to do, then that's what he's going to do. Not to mention, I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but apparently him and Caleb are really good friends, like really, really good friends. So listen, would I find a way to stretch that money out a little bit? Probably, because I don't think Cole Kmet should be making $10 million next year. Not this year, but the year following. I think he's projected. He's supposed to make $10 million. That's probably a little too rich for my blood for a number 2 tight end who's not going to get you like 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. But I'll tell you this, guys. First and foremost, Cole Kmet is not going to be cut. There's already 10 teams who have inquired about Cole Kmet. He's got to be, if anything, he would be traded. He wouldn't be cut. He'd be traded. Now it's going to be a 4th, 5th, 6th round. It's going to be nothing crazy, but they wouldn't cut him. Secondly, the teams that are inquiring about Cole Kmet are teams who do really smart shit. The Chiefs were the first team to call and say, what are you guys doing with Cole Kmet? If those guys are looking at Cole Kmet like we can get him here and he can be Travis Kelce's replacement and he can be way better than he's been on the Bears because he's not going to play second fiddle to Colston Loveland. He's going to be our guy. Then you're probably a guy you want to think about keeping here. And I, like Jason said, Sean, you've said it. Ben Johnson loves him, man. Yeah. Maybe there's some reason why we don't know what it's obviously he's not catching 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, but for some reason, Ben Johnson loves him. He loves the nitty gritty stuff, the shit he does, the hard work, the being the first guy in, last guy out. If he's that important to your offense, when you're running 12, 13 personnel, you need to find a way to keep him here. Even if it means you extend him a year and you just push that 10 million to 5 million for the next 2 years.
I was just going to say, doesn't it seem like Cole Kmet being a Old Town kid? And I know we hear that a lot, but doesn't he seem like a guy who would be 100% willing to restructure to stay here? Yeah. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't.
And you guys know that I've met Cole. He's been at River Street Tavern, the restaurant I work at. He's been there with his whole entire family, had a party upstairs. It's not just the fact. I mean, just he's a character guy, man. He's one of the nicest guy, one of the nicest athletes I've ever met. I mean, sitting there talking to him, it was like talking to a average Joe Schmo sitting at the bar. I mean, you didn't get that starlight kind of personality. He just seemed like a normal guy who loves football. And like you said, a hometown guy, a guy who's drafted by the Bears. It was his dream to be here playing here in Chicago. He's been nothing but the consummate professional. He never bitches, whines, moans, complains. He's certainly not like these wide receivers who have become prima donnas on every single team in the NFL. He's a damn good worker. He rarely ever drops footballs. He does whatever's asked for him. He knew that it was going to hurt his next contract to stop being primarily receiving tight end and start doing all the grunt work. He knew that. He knew if he's not getting 800, 900 yards anymore, or 8 touchdowns, he's not going to get as much money as next contract. But he never skipped a beat. He never complained. He never whined. He's always the first guy to congratulate Caleb Williams every time he throws a touchdown. He's the first guy to go pick up Caleb Williams. If I'm the Bears, I'm doing whatever I can to try to keep Cole Kmet in the building, even if it means 100%. Even if it means you have to mess with his contract a little bit. And like I said, Jason, you might be able to go up to Cole Kmet and be like, "Hey, we're not going to restructure you. We're just going to give you a pay cut." He might still be like, "Okay." I think that's how much he loves Chicago. I really do.
And I agree with Paul.
Well, the pickup might be pushing it a little too much. I mean, these players do know their worth, but at the same time, maybe these stats that aren't stellar is what helps keep him cheap, and then ultimately helps keep him here in Chicago. You know, Wilson Loveland is going to wind up being expensive.
Or extend him for a year, and then tell him straight up, "Hey, that third year you're probably not going to be here. There's going to be dead cap, but we can't. We don't want to pay that money this year or next year. We'll pay it the third year, and you'll be gone."
Ron is on the keep Kmet and DJ.
I think you got to keep Kmet and Loveland in the same room for as long as you possibly can. I think. I mean, if you watched the dynamic last year, guys, what about it didn't you like? I mean, they probably had the best tight end duo in the NFL. Why would you break that up?
Yeah.
Why would you break
it's
that
hard
up?
to get.
Yeah, it is. And I'm with Paul here, man. Cole's been here through the lean years, man. He's homegrown, drafted from the area. You know, he wins that Super Bowl here, man. I know it's going to mean a lot to every player, but I think it might mean a little bit more to him. You know, being a lifelong Chicago Bears fan, playing for this team, and actually bringing that brass ring home. Oh,
being
man.
Here, him and Jalen just being here for the shittiest years of any
NFL
dude. Team. Like, just they had to suffer through the years of Equanimous St. Brown and Byron Pringle and with the offensive line we should remain nameless,
and Mitchell Trubisky and
Cole Kmet's earned his keep in Chicago. Find a way to
agree.
restructure his contract, keep him here, and do not split up that duo. And then, like you said, you guys, once you owe Loveland his extension, once you got to pay him, then it's probably time for Cole Kmet to say goodbye.
Yeah, and the other big one. And we went through this a little bit ago, but the other big one coming out is the uncertainty around DeAndre Swift coming off his best year. I know today Harrison Graham went out and said that there was a connection to the Bears and Breece Hall, but the connection to Breece Hall is apparently he's going to be tagged by the Jets. But just hearing that, does that make you think that, A, they're going to draft one?
Sean, this is the second guy. The ETN, they were connected to ETN the second the season ended, and now all of a sudden they're being connected to Breece Hall. Sooner or later, if you hear enough of these, it's true.
Here, I'll tell you this, and I know he hasn't played it down in the NFL, but give me Jadarian Price in the third round, and you can save the money on DeAndre Swift, because I think you got a better player in Price. Price is an absolute stud and is going to blow up in the NFL. I promise, mark it down, take a picture. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I said it. That dude is going to be amazing in the NFL, dude. So,
you guys, I mean, I like DeAndre Swift, and I try not to fall in love with the name on the back of the jersey, because sometimes I think people will make stupid decisions when you do that. But if you could replace DeAndre Swift with somebody in the draft who gives you the same production, I mean, he had 1,000 yards rushing. It's not like he's the best tight running back in the NFL. And you can dump that $7 million you owe him this year and go get a rookie running back and a rookie contract. I'm sorry, man. I like DeAndre Swift a lot. I do. Ben Johnson's got rid of him once. He'll do it again. I'm all for it, man. I'm sorry. DeAndre Swift's awesome. I like him a lot. I think he seems like a really good dude. But he's not special. Jason, you talked about it when we did the fantasy shows. He's always 17, 18, 19 in fantasy. He's not some guy that's getting you 12, 18, or 1,600 yards rushing and 400 yards receiving and 14 touchdowns. I don't think he's ever had double-digit touchdowns in his career. He's certainly replaceable. You can't argue that. He's certainly replaceable. I mean, and you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seemed like the Bears were starting to favor Kyle Monangai anyway.
Yeah.
I felt that way.
Yep.
I agree, Romy. Really quick, I agree, Romy. Right now, before this combine, he is, but I agree after this combine, he might be gone in the top 30 picks, man. He's really fucking good. And the only reason he's not getting that love is because he was behind the next Gibbs and Bijan Robinson in this league, Jeremiah Love. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves. watch
Swift was like the 35th overall pick, I want to say, in 2020, same year as Komet. I don't know if he's lived up to the hype. He's got great skills, but arguably, we always argue here that if you put a running back behind a good offensive line, he's going to look a lot better. He had probably the best offensive line that he's had in his life, and maybe Philly was really good, but he still this year was only like 18th, I think. I mean, that's what he is, and I like the guy, Kyle. I'm with you. I think he's a great player. I like him. He doesn't trash talk. He doesn't say anything bad about the team. He shows up. He does the work. He does everything you want a football player to do. But if you can get the same guy for $1.5 million a year.
Yeah. I mean, you're telling me you're telling me Ben Johnson and this coaching staff and Ryan Poles can't figure out a way to get a guy who's ranked 16th in the NFL at running back in the draft for $1.5 million instead of paying the guy who's ranked 18th for $7.5 million. I told you guys this the second the season ended when I went over the possible cap casualties. The two guys I would cut are DeAndre Swift and Tremaine Edmonds, and I would seriously consider cutting Carlos Santos as well. But maybe people, they say I'm crazy. I know a lot of Bears fans fall in love with these guys, and they're like, "I mean, that's our guy, that's our boy. We can't just start cutting everybody." But it's a business, and you can get a running back with the same amount of value as DeAndre Swift in the draft, and you're paying him $1 million a year rather than 7.5. To me, if I'm the Bears, it's a no-brainer. I'm cutting DeAndre Swift. I just like you guys. Jason, he played behind two of the best offensive lines of football in the last 2 seasons, and he barely scraped 1,000 yards rushing. That's not special. It's not special.
No, and then you plug in Saquon Barkley in that same line, and he's a god. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the difference.
Even if you can get a guy who has 1,200 yards rushing instead of 1,000, he's still better. That's still a better player. So you take it. I mean, and obviously the Bears would have to get a very specific type of running back because you already have your bruiser and Kyle Malone guy. So you'd have to get a guy who can catch the ball. You can't have two of the same running backs on the same team. You have to get a guy who's a change of pace back to Kyle Malone guys. So it's a very particular guy they're looking for in the draft. But I still think even if you slim down the amount of running backs you're looking at because you need a guy who's a good pass catcher, I still think you can find somebody just as good, if not better, than DeAndre Swift for a lot cheaper. I do.
Well, here's an interesting comparison here. Kenneth Walker III just won Super Bowl MVP, right? Understandably so. The guy was a stud. But in the regular season, he had like just over 1,000 yards and only 5 touchdowns. He was not a super stud by any means.
Yeah,
but he's like 48% of their offense. You know what I mean? So he's that important to the team. If you put that workload on DeAndre Swift, does he do that for you? I don't think he does. I mean, there's probably just as many reasons to get rid of him as there are to keep him. And the biggest one is the salary. Yeah, Kyle, you hit it right on that.
And Jason, you answer the question, do you think that DeAndre Swift capable of that workload? I don't think he is.
I think he'd break.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, I think he's a couple hits away from missing a couple games like he has every other year of his career except for these last 2 years. He's only getting older. Listen, sometimes when we have these conversations, I think sometimes people in the chat think we just don't like these guys. I like DeAndre Swift. I like him. I have no complaints. I wasn't enamored with the signing when they made it, especially because it was like DeAndre Swift or Saquon, DeAndre Swift or Saquon. Oh, the Bears are signing DeAndre Swift. It was disheartening. It was heartbreaking because we all wanted Saquon Barkley here. But when they made the signing, I'm like, well, he's serviceable. He's certainly that kind of bridge gap player that can get you until you draft the running back that you really want. Well, now is a better time than ever. Go get the running back you really want.
Yeah, and well, look, I would love to have that stud running back. I mean, this is the Bears, right? We would love to have another Walter Payton. But the honest God's truth about DeAndre Swift is he's if the Bears decide to keep him, okay,
sure,
right.
Cool.
If the Bears decide to get rid of him, okay,
sure. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's just one of those guys to me. That's what he is to me. He's Jason. You nailed it. That's what he is to me. Like if DeAndre Swift's here, great. If DeAndre Swift's not here, great. I'm so, if the Bears are like, we're going to replace DeAndre Swift with ETN or Breece Hall or Walker, Kenneth Walker. I like all three of them better.
Yeah,
I like all three of them better.
Yeah.
To address the chat really quick, I think Romy asked, "What do you do if Price isn't there?" And I think J2K said Singleton. I like Singleton. I like Craytron Allen as well. Obviously, Singleton a little bit of a better receiving back, fits the mold of the system for the Bears a little bit better. And there's another kid by the name of Robert Henry Jr. out of where's he from? Texas, San Antonio, I believe, if I remember correctly. Go check out that kid's tape, man. That kid might be a deal that not enough people are talking about at the running back position in this particular draft. He might be like a Manun guy, a little bit better of a Manun guy because he has more speed, more breakaway speed, a 4.3 guy, 6.9 yards per carry, if I remember correctly, in college last year too. But I could go the same way you said too, J2K, kick the bucket to next year. And as much as I'm going to throw up in my mouth, that kid, I can't think of his name, Hardy or Handy or something on Missouri. He looks like he's going to be the real deal next year too. He looks really freaking good. It sucks he's on Missouri, but he looks really, really good. But I'm fine either way. I'm going to kind of go with the way Ben Johnson wants to do it because you guys all know on this channel, I kind of questioned his draft last year, kind of bit me in the butt a little bit. So if he feels it's worth it, I'm good with it because I trust Ben Johnson. I trust Ben Johnson. And I will say this, Kyle. I will say this really quick. The previous drafts were failures. His first draft with Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen, not so much of a failure. It was actually a success.
Well, and you guys, when you get into these salary cap situations where you're starting to penny pinch a little bit, sacrifices are going to be made. They're going to be made. It's going to happen. And, if people are so quick to get rid of DJ Moore and Jalen Johnson, I'd much rather see Tremaine Edmonds and DeAndre Swift get off this team than get rid of Jalen Johnson or DJ Moore. I mean, yeah. I think listen, I understand your people are going to be like, well, they're DJ Moore and Jalen Johnson just get paid a lot more money. Yeah, but they've also earned a lot more money. DeAndre Swift's been pretty average throughout his career. Tremaine Edmonds has been average since he got here. Like if you're in an absolute crucial situation where somebody has to go because you have to open up salary space, you're talking about the two guys who would cost you the least amount in dead cap being DeAndre Swift and Tremaine Edmonds. They're just victims of circumstance. Yeah. If that's the case, then it's time for them to go because the Bears have to address the defense. At some point, you have to address the defense. And you can get a linebacker in the draft and pay him $1.5 million a year who's going to give you the same production as Tremaine Edmonds. You're going to get a running back in the draft. You're going to pay $1.5 million a year who's going to give you the same production as DeAndre Swift. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer. And real quick, I don't think I've ever seen Benjamin Williams in the chat here.
Oh, Benjamin Williams.
Well, maybe I have, but I certainly haven't seen that thumbnail. I love it.
Is that Sherwin's brother?
I was going to say.
Thanks for joining the show, man. Thanks for joining the show, Ben. We appreciate you, brother. Bear down, man.
Thank you, brother. Really appreciate you checking us out, man. Really, really do. Yeah, the DJ Moore. I didn't want to dive too much into it because it's an ongoing saga. I just want people, and I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to say it again because the more disrespect I see on X and Facebook and get rid of DJ Moore, he didn't live up to his extension, I hate to say this, but go back and look at the beginning of the season. He wasn't involved in the offense. Is that a product of him? A guy who has been 1,000-yard receiver every year except for now 2 because he wasn't utilized in the offense at the beginning of the year. But I'll tell you this, when he was utilized in this offense, he sure saved the Bears' butt and turned into that number 1 receiver.
We don't beat Green Bay twice late in the season without DJ Moore.
Absolutely not.
The guy has had 5,000-yard seasons in his career. Yeah. And go look at the quarterbacks he did it with.
Yes. He's like being discarded as trash, dude.
You talk about victim of circumstance. DJ Moore has had the worst luck of any. So first he plays in Carolina with a bunch of terrible quarterbacks and still manages to be their leading receiver and get over 1,000 yards 4 times. Then he comes to Chicago and gets 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns with Justin Fields. After Justin Fields is shipped out of here, he's brought into this offense that now has 9 studs on it. They don't know how they're going to use everybody yet. They're trying to figure this thing out as they go. So he has what probably looks like a bad year. Although I think if you ask Ben Johnson himself, he'd be like, well, we just didn't know how to use these guys. It took us a while to figure out where they all should be. Now, all of a sudden, everybody wants to get rid of him. Watch DJ Moore. If he goes in the number 1 on another team with a decent quarterback, he's going to have 1,200 yards and 6 or 7 touchdowns. That's what people are going to be like.
Can you imagine him getting traded?
DJ Moore would have been awesome to you.
If he got traded to Buffalo, he would be a 1,500-yard receiver with Josh Allen, dude. I have zero doubts about that. None whatsoever.
Oh, and not only that, guys, but there are a lot of people, a lot of Bears fans have been talking lately like Caleb Williams has arrived. I think Caleb Williams still has some developing to do. I don't think he's there yet. Now, listen, obviously a great quarterback. Obviously got
Jay's
way
too
better in
great.
his second year, and he's only going to get better. But if I'm the Bears, I'm giving Caleb all the help I can get until around week 8, 9, 10 next year, where I feel like he has finally arrived and he can make everybody around him better. Because right now, I just don't think that's the case. And you guys remember, the Chiefs kept Tyreek Hill for 3 years with Patrick Mahomes before they were like, you know what? We don't need Tyreek Hill. Patrick Mahomes could do all this shit on his own. We can go sign a bunch of okay receivers and he'll make them look good. Caleb's not there yet. He's not there yet. He's just not.
Yeah.
Until the completion percentage goes up a little bit, not even the completion percentage, because I think it's overrated, but the efficiency. Until the efficiency goes up, Caleb needs guys who can create yards after the catch, guys who can make big plays. And right now, you look at the Bears roster, outside of Colston Loveland, I think, and maybe Luther Burden, which we haven't seen enough of yet, DJ Moore is that guy. I like Rome a lot. I like Rome Odunze. I think he's going to be a good receiver in this league, but he's not like a guy who's going to blow your mind after he catches the ball. That's just not who he is. He's a possession receiver. He catches the ball and he gets tackled.
People can call me crazy, but I don't know. Even though he was drafted top 10, but what was Rome, 9? If I remember correctly?
Yep,
9, yep.
I don't know that yet he's lived up to it, and yet we know exactly what he is because he has dropped balls and in big situations, and everyone, you want to talk about, he bailed the Bears out against the Green Bay Packers catching that 4th down catch. Well, I'll counter that with he also dropped the catch in the end zone against the Rams that we win the freaking game. So you got to have both. And I'll tell you, he's had more memorable drops this year than he has had memorable catches. If you can bring up one memorable catch against the Packers where his quarterback threw it to a spot and he happened to get there, opposed to he's dropping balls left and right, his quarterback put it on his hands in the end zone and he drops it. Like, come on, guys. We don't know exactly what Rome is. Is Rome a CeeDee Lamb? Probably not. Is he Jamar Chase? Probably not.
Sure, and that's just Scroll's point right here. I'm the argument that Caleb hasn't fully arrived yet because wide receiver isn't truly wide receiver 1 in terms of route running and separation. Well, we don't know that. Luther Burden could be wide receiver 1. Rome Odunze could be wide. We just don't know it yet. And until you know that, I wouldn't be super quick to trade away a bunch of talent off the offense because if Luther Burden's not a wide receiver 1 and Rome Odunze is not a wide receiver 1, then you need as many wide receiver 2s as you can get.
Yeah.
If you don't have a true number 1, then you need as many 2s as you can get. And there's been years where DJ Moore has certainly, the year he had 1,300 yards with Justin Fields, you guys, he was ranked, 6th in the NFL, I think, 6th in the NFL. That's a wide receiver 1. A top 10 receiver in the NFL is a wide receiver 1. Now, obviously, he's been more inconsistent, but I think a lot of it had to do with first, Shane Waldron, which was an absolute travesty, just a disaster. Never should have happened. And B, Ben Johnson trying to get used to this roster and figure out where he's going to plug these guys in and how he's going to use them. Because at the end of the year, when they finally figured out where they wanted all these guys, and with the Rome injury, DJ kind of carried the load. And if say Rome gets hurt in week 2 next year again, so now you got Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. I hope you got more than that.
We're banking a lot on Jahani Walker.
For developing quarterback, have you seen enough of Walker to trust him? I haven't.
Not yet, but look, the answer is I put a little thing up there. He was actually 3rd in drops. Rome Odunze was. There was a lot of drops, and I think a lot of those drops were actually Caleb's fault. To be perfectly honest with you, we talked about it yesterday, Kyle. Like dude, you're 15 yards away from your receiver. Don't throw the ball 400 miles an hour, dude. Just loft it in there, give it to him on the run, and let him run with the ball. Some of them are just too hard. Maybe it's him, learning the system and scrambling and doing whatever. Maybe part of it is, hey, the wide receiver's learning, hey, this is what the ball's going to look like. Because I remember Brett Favre had some, issues with that too. Players were like, dude, man, this guy throws the ball so hard, like he's breaking fingers out there. So I think maybe a little bit of a touch, might help. Some of that, but I think all across the board. And honestly, Cole Kmet, I thought, had some big drops this year too. And he's normally like a catch rate like fiend, right? 85%.
I think the Bears as a whole had dropped
a lot of drops. Yep.
And it's probably somewhere in the middle, right? Just like you want those receivers to learn that maybe this is who Caleb is. He's going to throw the ball and we have to adjust. But you also want Caleb to adjust and learn how to throw those touch passes.
Yes.
Like you got to meet somewhere in the middle. There's going to be times where Caleb's going to throw harder than you want him to, but you got to catch that ball, guys. Like Rome, there's no excuse for dropping that touchdown against the Rams. You have to. You're an NFL wide receiver getting paid millions of dollars to catch
the biggest game of your career.
To catch that ball. You absolutely have to catch that ball. It's not excusable. Not every ball in the NFL is going to be perfect. They're not all going to be breadbasket shots. Some of them you're going to have to make adjustments. That's why you get paid millions of dollars and we sit here and talk about sports on a podcast, because we can't do that. But Rome hasn't proven to me that he could do that either. I haven't seen it yet.
Hey,
If for being number 9 pick in the draft, I expect a lot more out of Rome Odunze. And
is it
I'm
fair?
not saying he's bad, guys. I like Rome, but
I like Rome too. I'm
he has
just
not
saying.
lived up to the hype for me personally. That's just
And
me
here,
personally.
I don't think I'd be so hard on him if he was the 57th pick in the draft. But he's
I
number
think if he
9.
was the 57th pick of the draft, you'd be like, God, this guy's a badass.
Yeah, right.
At
That's what
number
I'm
9,
saying,
you're
dude.
like, when he's drafted 4 picks after Malik Neighbors, you're like, yeah, that separation is pretty large.
Yeah, and again, I'm with you, Kyle, and you can. I think Jay, you could say it too. I have 37 Rome Odunze football cards. I don't hate the guy. I don't hate the guy at all. But you're the number 9 pick. I want to see CeeDee Lamb. I want to see Jamar Chase. I want to see Justin Jefferson. I want to see Malik. That's what I want to see if you're a top 10 pick in the league. He came in as a big time contested catch guy. I don't see that in the league yet either. So all I'm saying is we don't know to get rid of DJ Moore and just disregard him because of his contract and say, oh, we don't want to restructure and maybe have to pay him after he's gone because of the void years, which I'd be totally fine with because, again, in a whole capsule, we don't know what this guy is, but I know what DJ Moore is, and DJ Moore is a stud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, to do what he did in Carolina with if I reeled off that list of quarterbacks right now, there'd be 2 of them on the list that most people in the chat would be like, I don't remember that guy. That guy played who was that guy? That guy played in the NFL. I mean, there was a couple. He played with Jake Delhomme at the end of his run. He played with Cam Newton after he unretired, which was a travesty, just absolute disaster. And then he played with what was his name? Kyle. God, see, this is
he played with Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. But what was Kyle? What was his name?
It wasn't Kyle Trask. It was
no.
I know who it is. He didn't even have good quarterbacks at Maryland, dude. Go look at his quarterbacks in Maryland. You never heard of them. They sucked.
Listen, I know the counter argument's going to be, well, Justin Jefferson hasn't played with Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but he still gets his 1,000 yards every season. Justin Jefferson's a freak of nature. He's a once in a generation type of player. He's not.
But
I'm not comparing DJ Moore to Justin Jefferson. What I'm saying is, I think DJ Moore you get a lot more out of DJ Moore than you probably would expect. Like, people aren't touching DJ Moore in fantasy if they know his quarterback's going to be Jake Delhomme, but the guy still gets 1,100 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just wish people would take a step back and really just appreciate what this guy did for us down the stretch and think about where we probably wouldn't have been if he wasn't here and say, hey, man, keeping him on this team with a restructure. It's not a common trait for the Bears to restructure and have void years, but hey, man, we're in a brand new era in Chicago Bears football. Sometimes you have to take these risks and make these moves that aren't popular and that may hurt you down the line because you're in a championship window. And if you feel if the franchise and management feels that we're in a championship window, push all your chips in, restructure this guy, get some money under the cap, keep him here on your roster, and add some pieces. Don't subtract a stud. That's all I'm saying. Like, oh, trade him. Now, the one trade I said I would do is for Max Crosby. I would have no problems with that because Max Crosby, I think, then becomes the multiplier on the defense and helps you in multiple ways. But if you're just trading him to get rid of cap and maybe get a draft pick, yeah, fuck that. I can't say it any plainer. Fuck that. I am not down with that.
I think Bears fans who just think that the Bears are in a position to start trading away a bunch of talent I think you're a little delusional. I think they still need a lot of help for this team to win a championship. And Sean, I'm certainly not of the group that's like, oh, they just won 7 of their games last year were all luck. Like, I don't believe that. I think that you have to play the game and you have to win. If the other team's not playing a complete game and you're winning in the fourth quarter, that's their fault, not yours. But I certainly don't think they're in a position where they can just start trading away a bunch of talent.
And here, I'm with you, J2K, and I mean this 100%, man. You have this another year. Then you'll have Luther Burden going into his 3rd year into the league. And what do they say? 3rd-year breakouts for receiver. That's a common theme. I think personally Luther Burden is going to break out next year and have a fantastic year. I actually think that under this offense, I think it's going to be very similar to the Rams or the Lions. I think someone in here said that there's not going to be 1,000-yard receivers or multiple. But if you go Ben Johnson's last year there, Jamison Williams was a 1,000-yard receiver. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a 1,000-yard receiver. And our homeboy tight end, Sam Laporta, was just under 1,000 yards. I think he was 200 yards under 1,000. You're talking about 3 receivers right there.
Sean, the quarterbacks he's played with, DJ Moore, Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Will Grier, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, Justin Fields, Tyson Bagent, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, now go find his college career because those guys all sucked ass.
Will Grier?
Will Grier. Well, West Virginia.
I can't think of a single pass that Will Grier has thrown in the NFL.
No, I remember him from Big 12 football. That's about it. But speaking of quarterbacks, as we move anywhere, anything else got anything else on DJ Moore?
No, I love the guy. I want to see him picked.
Well, we had lying season, but a little stuff come out from a gentleman from the Arizona Cardinals by the name of John Gambardoa, 29-year veteran of radio, Sports Talk Radio, 98.7 FM in Phoenix. He said he has heard that the Cardinals are intrigued by the Bears' backup, Tyson Bagent. He has 1 year left, but that's actually wrong. I believe he has 2 years left on his deal.
2 years.
So you would have to trade to get him. Grew up in West Virginia, blah, 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 blah. None of that matters. I am not one of the guys that would like to see Tyson Bagent go. I guess for me, and I will say this, if you're getting a third-round pick, I'd probably be a little bit more okay with it because the Cardinals have the third pick in the third round. You're maximizing and probably getting a good player to help your roster, even though third-round success under this regime isn't anything to shake a stick at. But for me, if you're not doing that, it seems like a raceful move because reliable backup quarterbacks matter, especially if Caleb Williams has to miss a game or two. That could swing your season. You have a guy who's been in the system, knows the system, a guy that you trust. He's steady behind him, and for me, this could be the difference of making the playoffs or not making the playoffs if Caleb Williams pulls a hamstring and has to miss 2 weeks. For me, again, unless Chicago's getting something meaningful back, draft capital in return, and I'm talking second or third, which to me, I don't know how realistic that is for Tyson Bagent. I personally don't see the value of moving him for a late-round pick. It outweighs, to me, the security he provides at that position, one of the most prominent positions in all of sports. I don't know how you boys feel about it, so fire away.
This is one of the most absurd stories of the day, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then I'm about to go off here. Who's a better quarterback, Jacoby Brissett or Tyson Bagent?
Right now, Jacoby Brissett. If you're talking about season,
okay, well, he's on their roster. Yeah. So why would you trade for a backup then? Or why would you inquire? They didn't even really technically inquire. They just said they were intrigued by it, which could mean that they were asking about a package deal for a trade and threw Tyson Bagent in there. We have no idea what the real discussion was, if there even was one, let alone that the Bears would let him go. They just re-signed him after Ben Johnson got hired, which tells me that Ben Johnson, the offensive guru, wants that guy on his team. So, I mean, you got Cap on ESPN 1000 saying, oh, yeah, I want a second pick for Tyson Bagent. You're not getting a second pick for Tyson Bagent. The average is 3 or 4, and Malik Willis just got traded for a 7th. And there's no way that you're going to get a second or a third for Tyson Bagent. It's just not going to happen. This angers me so bad. It's clickbait, and we all bought into it, dude. We got to stop clicking on those articles and those podcasts that do crap like this. It's terrible. Breaking news. That's not breaking news. It's a rumor. Just say rumor, and we're all happy. But it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Listen, if for some reason some team, it doesn't have to be the Cardinals, if some team out there is like, hey, we need a bridge quarterback, a guy who's cheap, but we know could win games here and there. I mean, he went 2-2 his rookie season. Mm-hmm. And we're willing to give you guys a 4th-round pick for Tyson Bagent. He's going to start here for 2 years while we groom our quarterback we draft and sit him on the bench. It certainly would be a smart move for that team because he only cost you $4 million a year. And we talked about this, guys. The franchise tag for quarterbacks this year is $47 million. So that's averaging out the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. So
Jacoby Brissett's making like $6 million a year. 2 years, $12.5 million.
Yeah, but if you
at base salary of $4.88 million, he's making the same amount of money as Tyson Bagent, and he's more
it depends what you think you're going to get. Like if there's a team out there that for some reason believes that Tyson Bagent is a starting caliber quarterback, and they're just taking a chance.
Yeah, you never know.
Year, and they're like, hey, maybe this guy ends up being a stud. This is what I would say from the Bears' perspective, guys. If any of this stuff is true, and the Bears there are teams out there who are interested in Tyson Bagent, I think you owe it to Tyson Bagent to let him be a starting quarterback.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? Well, like if you're a fan of Tyson Bagent,
guys.
yeah. No, I'm not in a million. I don't think it would be a third. I think the highest you get for him is a fourth, and that's pushing it.
Yes.
But if it was up to the Bears and Tyson comes up, somebody team calls and is like, hey, we want Tyson to come here and be a starter. We want to give him a chance to be a legitimate starter in the NFL. I think you owe it to Tyson Bagent to let him do that.
I agree.
How many chances is he going to get to be a starting quarterback in the NFL?
No, absolutely. But it's got to be for like, look, if you're
I agree with
Tyson Bagent.
I agree with you. I don't think people are handing out second round picks for backup quarterbacks who play Division II football.
Right.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just saying if any of that stuff was true for some reason, even if it's a 5th round pick, I think you'd have to sit down and have a conversation with Tyson. Like, Tyson, this is your opportunity to make it in the NFL. This is it. This is your chance. You want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. This is going to be your shot. Are you comfortable going to Arizona? And he's like, I would love to try to be a starting quarterback in Arizona. I think you owe it to him to let him go. But Sean, it's not ideal. I don't want him to leave. I like
don't want him
Tyson
to leave either.
You owe it to every player who's going to maybe get a potential starting job to let them go. That's what good teams do. But
because the security, I mean, just this guy.
Too much about it. I was too busy grinding my absolute face off in the offseason.
I love that guy, dude. I don't want him to go anywhere.
He doesn't want to go anywhere either. I listen, he's so happy he got that $10 million contract or whatever it was with the signing bonus.
Yeah,
literally said cried like said it changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
What was the case? What was the Case Keenum contract? Do we know?
I don't know, but he was basically a coach. I mean, let's face it, guys.
But that was a 1 year, right?
What's
That's
that?
A 1 year deal. That was a 1 year deal, though, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So he's gone, right? Case
Probably will be.
1 year.
That's another thing. So now you got to bring in another quarterback to back up. That's got to learn the whole system.
Yeah. If you can't get like a consummate professional, like a Case Keenum type guy, then I'm certainly not trading the guy who's been groomed under Ben Johnson for the last year and is probably ready to step in for Caleb whenever needed and could probably win a couple games. I'm certainly not like antsy to ship him out of here.
No, me either. Neither, because
I like Tyson Bagent a lot. I think I think what Tyson Bagent is a backup, but I think he's a damn good one. And if that's how he makes a living in his NFL career, good. So be it.
Yeah, and I agree. If they were to trade, I like Paul's idea here of adding incentives. If he takes majority of the snaps, the draft pick improves. Make sure you protect yourself. But again, like I said, I think it would be a terrible move if this were to happen. And again, Jay, I wasn't saying this is true.
No, I know you aren't. I'm talking about everybody else who would like on their like. I think if Caleb Williams gets hurt and has to miss a game or gets pulled out of a game because he gets hurt, I'm not like, fuck, here comes, I don't even know, a shitty
Craig Krenzel.
Yeah, Craig Krenzel. I'm like, oh, we have Tyson Bagent. Okay, I know by his
2 games. Yeah, you're right.
He can manage an offense.
Yeah.
You know,
I know it's the preseason, but he's looked damn good under Ben. He looked damn good under Ben Johnson in the preseason. Two game-winning touchdowns last year in the preseason.
Yeah. Look, he's familiar with it. The reason why you signed him, this is a guy who's a talent evaluator, wanted to come here because of Caleb Williams. Obviously had some pretty good insights as to who we should get in the draft for the offense, right? And he literally said, "Yeah, let's keep this kid here." And they gave him a decent contract for, like you said, a Division III or II, kid, as a backup, $10 million. That's life-changing money for him. I could see that guy saying, "You know what? I'll be a backup here." I know he wants to be a starter, but shit, man, all it takes is a 2-3 game stretch. Now you want to trade him. And maybe we could trade him for a third, right? But I don't think his value is a 3rd round pick right now. And somebody else who's at AC Adam, all right, Arizona wants our QB2 to end up as their QB2. This is just, what it is, guys. Look, basketball is the only sport on right now, and especially in Chicago, since the Bulls suck. there's nothing going on. There's no hockey. There's no football. There's Winter Olympics, but I don't know.
Hey,
Baseball just
USA!
but there's not much college basketball. That's it. That's all there is. So these Bears podcasts have to start something. I went through it today when I heard that. I'm sitting looking through, and it's all like breaking news. This is going to happen. Great trade for the Bears. And then you go, oh, I have an idea about, well, dude, you just wanted somebody to click on your damn podcast. I'm just as bad because I clicked on it, right? I'm the one that's fueling this just like everybody else is, but I just wish it would stop because it's completely asinine. This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
Well, I got bad news, Jay. During the offseason, this shit's never going to stop. There's always going to be ridiculous trade proposals.
It's lying season.
I really hate when the article says prominent sports writer predicts trade for I'm not reading that shit.
Well, I will tell you this: whoever said his fake, I just looked it up. He is not fake. He works at 98.7 FM in Arizona Sports.
Yeah,
he's a real dude. Drive show from 2 to 6 on Burns and Gamboa. He's known as a sports insider, frequently discussing local teams like the Diamondbacks and Arizona Cardinals. He's been on the air in the Phoenix market for 29 years. So,
yeah, because he's a clickbait guy, dude. It's like, if one of the old score guys,
Danny Parkins, he's a clickbait.
Yeah, Danny Parkins. Guess what? The Bears are trading Tyson. They're going to start Tyson Bagent. Like, I don't. It's just as bad as the fans that want Tyson Bagent. They wanted Tyson Bagent to start ahead of
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams ahead of dude. He doesn't have the arm strength. He's serviceable. He's probably a perennial backup quarterback, which is fine. You can get very rich as a perennial long time.
Just ask Chase Daniel.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, dude. He can wind up making over $100 million in his life if he plays long enough. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not realistic. He's not that good of a quarterback. If he was, he would be starting.
I hope he's here for the long run as our backup. That's what I hope.
I do too. I love the kid. Like you were saying, I'm not saying I hate Tyson Bagent. I love him. It's just he's getting exactly what he's worth, and he's doing exactly what his skill level says it should be. Now, if they want to give a second-round pick for Tyson Bagent, bye, buddy. I love you, but
that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. Talented player back for Tyson Bagent.
That's the only way I'm getting rid of him. And it would have to be a third-round pick, bare minimum, because where the Cardinals are picking in the third round. A fourth round's not worth it. A fifth round's not worth it, because regardless of how good he is, he's really valuable to this team, whether you see it or not, especially if Caleb Williams missed games, man. I'm telling you. A guy who's in the system. I mean, we watched him under a shitty coaching staff be able to absorb and win games under Ben Johnson. I would feel very good about him starting a game unless he was playing maybe a top 5 defense in the league. And then I might even still feel good because he's got that quick release. He's very smart. He's picked up the offense. And when we watched him when he played those 4 games, what did he throw?
Jason's right. He's got a limited skill set.
He does.
Like Caleb Williams. We know
that.
But
guess what?
But he is
that limited skill set.
He is poised in the pocket for a very young man.
Absolutely.
Get the ball out. Get the ball out.
He plays like a veteran. He does. But I certainly don't. I mean, like I said, if a team's looking at him as like a bridge player, I think would be a great position for the team and him. But if a team's like, hey, maybe this guy has potential to be like a franchise quarterback, you guys are probably not going to be a very good team.
I just think that the Cardinals already have that bridge quarterback on their roster, right? Like they're not Cleveland. You don't need 6 quarterbacks on your roster, dude.
I don't know. I don't even know, is Brissett still under contract? I don't
yes.
follow.
I think he signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah. So I mean, you have that guy as a bridge quarterback if you need it.
Jacoby Brissett's one of the better backups in the NFL for sure.
I think in 12 games he had like 3,200 yards. Like, dude, he's a very capable quarterback.
I'll tell you this.
I like
Brissett hooked up Michael Wilson. And you know what? Off subject, I know it's not Bears news, but the other rumor that was kicked around the can was the Arizona Cardinals are in talks in a blockbuster deal with the Chiefs to send Marvin Harrison and swap Xavier Worthy and some other players. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But again, it is lying season.
Well, that one they've said that the Chiefs have called and inquired. Now, I don't know nobody's going to know what the discussion was about. Nobody's going to know what the details of the trade were, but I know that the Chiefs are interested in Marvin Harrison Jr. I know that for a fact. That I know. I don't know how close they are to a trade or what the return package would be. I have no idea, but I know for a fact the Chiefs need a receiver because Rashee Rice is about to be suspended for the rest of his life. So they're running out of options.
Actually, Kyle,
Yeah.
actually to that, Rashee Rice is going to dodge a bullet, dude. His lawyer actually came out today, and his girl that's accusing him of this perjured herself already, and he filed a perjury suit against her. He noticed it. The thing came out today, whatever it said. I didn't save it, but they said that that's all we're going to say for now. We'll let the courts handle the rest. So this chick lied. This dude might get off because she perjured herself. You talk about.
I'll tell you this, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I'll tell you this. It's very strange that she came out with all these pictures and all this stuff like 8 months after it happened. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
Why wouldn't you go to the police immediately? Like, if this guy's really beating the shit out of you, you need to go to the police immediately, or he's going to continue to do it. So why did it take you? Did he break up with her? And she's like, well, now that I'm not in this generational wealth family, now I'm going to sue him. Like that. Not a good look for you. Not a good look.
Well, this is on October 9th, 2025. Well, after the parties' relationship has ended, Miss Jones stated under the penalty of perjury in a sworn affidavit for non-prosecution that Mr. Rice and I had a verbal argument, but he never punched me. We will allow the legal process to run its course. We have no further comment at this time. Dude, she's going to wind up in prison for perjury.
Well, no, it said she can get sued, but she can't. It's not.
It's a civil case. So
I
don't know what kind of case it is.
Yeah,
Rashee Rice is.
Yeah, Rashee Rice's allegations are criminal. Hers, if it's a perjury crime, it would be a civil case. She'd have to pay a fine or probation or something. She's not going to go to jail.
But I'll tell you, that looks really good for Rashee Rice.
It looks good for my keeper and boobs. It looks good for that.
We'll see how this plays out. I can tell you this, as a guy who deals with courts for cases that I deal with, nothing happens very fast. We're still waiting on a decision. They said would be 30 days. It's now 65. So, yeah, they don't move very fast. They don't give a shit about you. I can tell you that right now.
Well,
when I go and testify, get called to go testify, and I never wind up really testifying. It always gets settled beforehand. But on cases that are like 2-3 years old.
Let me ask you a question, though, guys. If it's already written in stone that the Bears are going to part ways with Tremaine Edmonds, do you think there's anybody in the draft they could find to replace him?
I do believe. I don't know at 25, though. But maybe.
I mean, is that the Bears saying, hey, we're going to release him to see if they can maybe get some people calling? But if you're – it's kind of dumb. If you say you're just going to get released, then maybe there could have been a team out there willing to trade for him, you know?
I will tell you this, Jay. There is a lot of smoke that he has already been told that he's been cut.
I believe it. I'm just saying, strategically speaking, was that smart for the Bears to even let leak?
Well, Jason, I think the problem is that these teams know, like, hey, man, if you guys don't find a trade partner, you're cutting him. We know you guys are going to take that $15 million for sure. We know that all day. You guys are not keeping him on the roster. So I think at the end of the day, I think these teams are probably because I agree with you, Jason. I think he's still worth trade. I think he's still a trade. It's not like he's a terrible player. For $17 million, and you'd have to eat 2 because 2 of it's guaranteed, and you'd save 15. Right. I think you're just way better off in the same situation we had with DeAndre Swift. I think you're just way better off finding somebody who can do basically the same thing in the draft. And I was trying to transition into linebackers, guys.
No, 100%. 100%. I fired them up, dude. I opened up the pages and everything. I'm ready to go.
Get up.
Ready to go. We're running out of time, man. We got 30 minutes to get through a bunch of linebackers.
Yeah, so for those you don't know in the chat, guys, first of all, address the chat. Ant-Man says J2K, Vizzo Joe. Notorious B.I.G. help me out here, guys. Paul's here. Ron's
all the usual
here.
Suspects.
Yeah, all of our favorites, man. Steve's in the house, man. Bruce is here, obviously, as always. Romy's here. AC Adams here. Scrolls is here. We appreciate the shit out of you guys. If I missed you, I apologize. Thank you so much for being here. Please hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. We've over the last couple Wednesdays, we broke down first defensive tackles. Last Wednesday, we did defensive ends, and now we're going to dig into these linebackers in the draft here. We're just going to go over the positions we think the Bears are probably the most, for obviously the position of needs, but the positions we think they're most likely to draft in the first 3 or 4 rounds. So let's get into some of these linebackers, guys.
Go ahead, Sean. You start her off, then we'll go Kyle and then me.
Yeah, you know, Sean has like 38 of them over there, so he's definitely going
I
first.
do, but I'm starting off with my favorite sleeper. I'm starting off with a sleeper because I love this dude so much, man. And I just think he's so underrated, and I think he can play sideline to sideline.
Is it a Kyle?
It's not a Kyle. It is. I'm trying to find. Why can't I find this? Oh, it's a Jack. It's Jack Kelly out of BYU. Man, do I love this kid, man. Just watching his tape, he pops. He pops like a few of these linebackers that we're going to talk about here today. But you can watch him on film here. While I go over him, 10 tackles in 2025, 13 and a half tackles for loss, 29 pressures. That's fourth most among linebackers, second most sacks among linebackers. This guy has a high motor, heat-seeking missile with legit closing burst. I mean, this dude just gets after it, sideline to sideline. You can't get away from him. The fact that this dude is falling to the 4th or 5th round is going to be a steal for someone. He has versatility. He can line up across the entire line. He's played Mike, Will, and Sam, and he stands up on edges on tape at BYU. You can do anything you want with this guy across that line. 242-pound linebacker, fits right in that mold of what you want. He has the pass rush toolbox, cross chops, inside counters, good dip and rips. I mean, I'm so in love with this kid. Like, I really want him to be a Chicago Bear. How does he fit under Dennis Allen's offense? The Bears obviously run an aggressive 4-3 offense, heavy simulated with pressure with multiple fronts, similar to the way he's run his defenses in the past. He uses the simulated pressures, bring four-man rushes from different angles, moves linebackers around pre-snap. You can do all this with Jack Kelly because he's got the speed to get side to side, move around this line. He's a strong side edge setter versus tight ends, and he can possibly wear the green dot once he learns this offense. I'm just telling you.
Sean, is he going to the combine?
He is going to the combine. So he may jump. He's
gonna move. He's gonna move up.
He may move up. I just don't know how much to say how this guy is being missed. He played a game this year with one arm, and this dude had 7 tackles, a forced fumble, and a sack. Literally played, I think it was against New Mexico or something. I'm gonna have to look back because I didn't write it down. Played with one fucking arm and still led the team in tackles in the game. He's an absolute beast. I don't have any identical players that I tried to find an identical player that I just couldn't. But right now, his available value is the 5th or 6th round. High floor special teamer to start. I think an immediate sub package guy who you could bring in. And I think if someone were to get hurt, like our linebackers got hurt this year, you plug this dude in and you're not looking back. He is your guy. He's going to play. He's going to tear it up. Jack Kelly, keep the name. I think a projection in a peak season, close to 100 tackles, maybe 10 to 15 tackles for loss, 15 to 25 pressures at a linebacker spot, and 7 to 9 sacks. That would be mine. I don't think he's just a linebacker. I think he's a weapon. In the right system, Dennis Allen system in Chicago, he's the kind of mid-round pick that quietly becomes one of the most impactful defenders on your team and in this draft class. And by the way, his nickname is called Sack Kelly. Let's go. Who's next?
Go ahead, Kyle.
All right, man. So I've talked about these with you before, guys. None of these are guys who would be a little bit later. I mean, late first round, or mid second round. So probably not going to change the outcome of your defense, but certainly guys who would help your team improve for sure. The first guy I have is CJ Allen out of Georgia, 6'1", 235 pounds. If you had to describe this guy in 3 words, it would be speed, speed, speed. He's projected to be a middle linebacker. He would certainly play the Mike. He's a 4.55 40 time, and he was supposedly one of the best on the field leaders in college football. I watched a ton of his tape today, man, and the first thing that jumps off the film, guys, is speed. If this guy has a lane to get to the quarterback, he will run through. He'll get through there in half a second, man. He had 40 games played 1,610 snaps, so plenty of college experience. Draft position at 86.3 out of 100. His tackling's a 91. That's another thing about him. He's a sure tackler. His run defense is a 97. The only problem with him, and I like CJ Allen, and I think he still has some developing to do, but his coverage grade by Draft Buzz is 58. And if you watch the tape, you know why. He's just not spectacular in coverage. His 2025 stats, he had 13 games played, 88 tackles, 47 of them solo. He had 8 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He's not necessarily the guy who's going to be a huge play guy. He's not going to have a ton of interceptions and forced fumbles, but he's fundamentally sound, and he improves your run defense day one, the second you draft him. I also love his NFL comparison and Jahad Campbell. Some of his strengths is put on the tape against any SEC running team, and you will see Allen flying downhill with rare decisiveness, filling gaps before blocks can develop, and meeting backs in the hole. Wraps up and finishes with textbook technique every single time. His missed tackle rate across 3 seasons is remarkably low, and he brings real thump and contact. Takes on pulling guards and lead blockers with leverage and proper hand placement, holding his ground at the point of attack rather than getting washed out in his gap. Covers ground sideline to sideline with that 4.55 speed, which shows up when he chases down stretch runs or rallies from the backside to make stops. The one thing that sticks out about him, guys, when you watch the tape, is just how fast he is from sideline to sideline. Like, there's literally, for a running back to get the edge against this, when this guy's on the field, it's going to be tough. If you add him to the Bears, it would be tough to get around the edge with him on the field, man. He is a speed demon. Some of his weaknesses: hip stiffness, limits his ability to flip and run with athletic tight ends or backs, angle routes, creates separation that better athletes will exploit, gets caught flat-footed against quality play action, taking half step forward before recognizing the pass and leaving soft spots in the middle of the field. This is what his real biggest weakness is, from me watching the tape, is zone coverage, man. He just gets lost when he's in zone coverage. He just does not look as good. This is a guy who's probably going to have a very, very particular set of skills. He's not going to be a guy you can play on every single down, especially if you're talking about third and long, knowing you're going to pass the ball. He's probably not going to be on the field. But if you draft him, he will improve the run defense immediately. And if you watch him on tape, guys, he is an NFL-ready linebacker. This guy is a sure tackler, almost perfect technique every time through the hole. And like I said, what's one thing we've heard Dennis Allen talk about all the time when addressing this defense? Speed. If you draft this guy, you are adding speed to this team immediately. He'd be like a Ruben Hippolyte, but that's actually worth a damn. He's to me is very similar to Sean. You said this earlier. Very similar to Roquan Smith, but would probably be better in the middle than an off-the-ball linebacker. He's fundamentally sound. He knows how to play football. I think there's still room for him to grow. I think he can get better in coverage. He did get better in 2025 than he was in 2024. I just don't think he's ever going to be like one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. This is not a guy, like I said, who's going to change your defense and make them bring them from ranked 28 to rank 5, but he's going to help your defense improve day one.
He's really definitely a good player.
Really quick, J2K, were you saying Jack Kelly reminds you of Luke Kuechly? Or were you saying CJ Allen? Because you were kind of in the middle there. I wasn't sure. Go ahead, Jay.
I'll keep mine short here because I know we're strapped for time here. But I'll start with my biggest sleeper, I suppose. I think he's probably like a 4th or a 5th round guy. I don't know that the combine's going to help him very much unless he has just some like killer interviews. But Lander Barton, the Utah Ute. Really kind of what stuck out to me and why I chose him is he's actually used in the offense quite a bit. He's got pretty decent hands. I mean, he played tight end in high school. I think in high school, his senior year, he had 37 receptions and 8 touchdowns. In 2025, he had 6 receptions for 55. Nothing to shake a stick at, but, for a guy like a gadget guy like Ben Johnson, might be somebody that he might be interested in late rounds. He could use a little bit more lean muscle mass. He has 2 brothers that are currently on NFL rosters. Like one of them's like a defensive lineman, and the other, they're like just big giant guys. So he has the ability to gain mass. He's not short by any means. He's 6'5". They say he's 240, 236, but he looks more like he's 225. I think he could actually put on some muscle mass like our boy Austin Booker did. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time. A good open field tackler. Not the best run defender, but he always seems to disrupt passing lanes. He runs a 4.55 40, which is great. He was 2022's Pac-12 Freshman Defensive Player of the Year with 45 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. As a freshman, that's not bad. You know what I mean? You're probably drafting this kid for his football IQ and his ability to disrupt those passing lanes. But, he's just a really smart kid, and really his pedigree can't be dismissed. He's, his one brother's been in the league for like 8 or 9 years and the other for like 4 or 5. So Expect this kid to definitely make a roster. He was invited to the combine, but probably like a fourth or fifth guy. And again, I'm not saying the Bears are looking at him, but for a trickster type of coach, I think putting in a linebacker in a red zone situation to catch a ball might not be an unhappy thing to watch.
I think I'm going to switch to the great state of Texas, and a guy that I think we all love a lot in this draft, and I think the chat's going to love a lot in this draft. And the fact that I'm reading that he's going in the 3rd and 4th round just blows my freaking mind. And that is my guy, Jacob Rodriguez, the Cowboy. The first thing I noticed, great stash. Look at that stash, man. That guy has got it going on. I love it. But look at this guy and all of his accomplishments and what he's won in this league. His wife is also a Blackhawk pilot. I wrote that down in searching him. But 6'1", 230 pounds. He's played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end at UVA before transitioning to linebacker in 2022. First-team All-American, 2-time first-team All-American, all Big 12 defensive player. You see the awards, 7 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions. This is the highest grade linebacker in the country. And the fact that he is not even going in the top 50 or considered a top 50 pick at this point is just blowing my freaking mind, guys. Again, when you look at his accolades, you look at what he brings to the field, what he's done, what he did at Texas Tech. You just watch him. He's everywhere. He's a great cover linebacker, 92% coverage grade on the season. Fastest linebacker at the Senior Bowl at 18.73 miles per hour clocked. His tapes and analytics, to me, are first round grade. His pass breakup, 1.25%, coverage grade, 88%, or 88 grade, run defense, 88 grade. This guy, the one knock that he does have is he misses some tackles, a little bit more tackles than what you would like, but he does everything else. He's a stone wall out there. By every metric, he's the best linebacker in this draft. He's going to be a steal. He was a menace at the Senior Bowl. He's versatile, lightning quick trigger. He caused 16 turnovers in his past 2 seasons. If that's not enough to warrant a good discussion at the table come April, I don't know. Watch the tape. You're watching it right now. I mean, this guy's going to be flying up draft boards. It's time that people take notice. And I know that our chat is smart. I know that my panel with me is smart. The guy's a turnover machine. He made the statement at the Senior Bowl, athleticism, versatility. He brings everything. When it comes to what he does for what he would fit in the Chicago Bears, he's a 4-3. He could be a Mike. He could be a Will. He could be a Sam. He can play all 3 positions. I think the one thing you probably want to put him at is, you know what? They don't really have a grade at where they think he would play best in the NFL. I think if you put him on the outside, so I think he would do well, but I think he'd do well in the middle. I think there's a lot that this kid brings to the table when it comes to the Chicago Bears. Obviously, we need a guy that can create havoc, that's a menace, that fits the bill of the versatility that Dennis Allen likes in his defense. This guy does it all. He's an extremely rare company when you look at the accolades and the things that he's done in his time in Texas Tech. I do expect him to fly up boards. I don't expect him to be a 3rd round pick. I think this dude's going to go in the 2nd round. And if he went in the 2nd round at 57, man, I would be really, really happy with the turnover machine, Jacob Rodriguez, the Red Raider out of Texas Tech.
Yeah, I think there may not be 5 Patrick Willis's in this draft, but man, the linebackers class is deep in this draft. Next guy I did, man, was Deontay Lawson, 6'2", 228 pounds out of Alabama. Projected to be a box linebacker in the NFL. He had a 4.6 40 time, so he's got some speed as well. Projected late 2nd round. I think they said after the combine that'll probably sneak up to early 2nd round or mid 2nd round. 49 games played, 2,408 snaps college. Another guy who's plenty of experience. Overall rating on draft balls was 85.2 out of 100. His tackling is where it would be a concern for me if I'm a team looking to draft him in the 2026 NFL draft. 66 on Draft Buzz. If you watch the tape, he's the guy that gets in the backfield a lot. He creates havoc, but he almost always needs somebody to help him wrap up. And that's going to be a problem in the NFL because these guys are a lot bigger and a lot stronger and a lot faster. His pass rush is 65, so he's certainly not known for sacking the quarterback. Run defense is 92, very similar to CJ Allen. This guy is really good at run stopping, and his coverage grade 75. So better than Allen, but I don't know. I think I'd rather take the upside of Allen and take the sure tackler than a guy who is a little bit better in coverage, but his tackling could use some work. 2025 statistics, 15 games played, 89 tackles, 48 of them solo, 4.5 tackles for loss, and a sack and a half, and 2 forced fumbles. Another guy who, when you watch the tape, he's not going to be a guy who has 6, 7, 8 interceptions at linebacker. He's not going to be a guy who just had a bunch of splash plays, but he's just another guy who's fundamentally sound. He does need to work on his tackling. His NFL comparison is Henry. I'm going to butcher this name. Henry Tuoto from the Texans. Is that how you say it? Right?
Hey, don't ask the butcher.
Yeah. Well, I saw that guy on the field a ton when I was watching the Texans, and I'm like, I'm not even going to try that. Because all the apostrophe. Some of his strengths, his best work shows up against the run, where he consistently reads skis, stays square, and uses his length to keep blockers off his frame. His tape from 2024 and 2025 is full of clean, decisive fits. Covers serious ground sideline to sideline at 4.6 speed. When he has a clear lane to the ball carrier, he closes in a hurry and rarely gets outrun at the edge. Long arms at 6'2" frame give him a wider tackling radius than most linebackers. He could reach out corral runners who try to slip past his pursuit angle. That's another thing about him, man. Like the 6'2", he's very lengthy, but at 228 pounds, I think that's why he sometimes needs help cleaning up some of these thicker running backs. At 228 pounds, he's undersized for the position and lacks the functional mass to consistently anchor against pulling guards, climbing centers in the run game. Tackling reliability is a genuine concern. He has missed too many tackles throughout his career, and the problem actually got worse in 2025, suggesting the issue has not been corrected with more experience. Coverage numbers tell a troubling story when you dig deeper. Receivers completed a high percentage of passes thrown his direction in both 2024 and 2025, and the yards allowed in those windows add up quickly. One thing they did talk about, though, and by the way, he had a torn ACL in 2024, but it didn't seem to bother him too much in 2025. He looked just as athletic. One thing they talk about is he's quick to bite. So especially in zone coverage, he stands flat-footed for too long, and he gives up a lot of yards on slant routes and screen passes. If that's something that the Bears feel like if they drafted him, they could correct and they can get him to be more disciplined, this is probably a guy whose value would skyrocket because he is very athletic and he's a damn good linebacker when it comes to stopping the run. But the problem is, how many times have we talked about the Bears linebackers in coverage? You want to bring another guy in that just can become like a project trying to stop receivers and athletic tight ends. Mm-hmm. This is the guy who kind of is in the same boat. I like him a lot. I think he's a really good athlete. I just don't think he's a game wrecker. And I think he's a guy who would probably play a rotational role for the Chicago Bears.
Yes, that guy's going to wind up being probably a good journeyman. He'll probably be on the team for a while.
Well, and what's the one thing you don't want to hear when you're talking about linebackers? Trouble tackling.
You never want to hear
trouble tackling.
The one and only skill they should have is tackling. Yeah.
Official Chief Latero in the chat. Never seen that name before. He says, "Peace, everyone. What's going on, man? Thanks so much for joining the chat.
Thanks for checking it out.
Welcome to 4 Stars Sports." Jason, what do you got?
All right. So my next guy is not a sleeper by any means. Another guy from Texas, but not a Red Raider. We're talking about a Longhorn, Mr. Anthony Hill Jr. At 21 years old, I believe he's a junior, 6'3", 238, so decent size, decent speed at 4.5 on his 40. His closest comparison on Draft Buzz is Jihad Campbell, so I doubt he's probably going to be there at 25 for the Bears, but hell, he's so good. I liked him. I figured I'd talk about him anyways.
Jihad Campbell was there at 25.
What's that?
Jihad Campbell was there at 25.
Oh, yeah, hey. He combined in his 3 years at Texas for 250 tackles, 17 sacks, 8 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions. He's also got great awareness in open space. Unlike Barton, he's great against the run. He's a very good pass rusher, but not big enough to be a DE in the NFL, I don't believe. It's going to be a big thing to go at 6'3", 238 to gain another 20 pounds. He's got long legs, long arms, and the speed that Dennis Allen would love. A player that is not afraid to return an interception or fumble recovery as far as he can. He's not going to just fall down. He's going to try to get that touchdown. And by the way, with his speed, he has the ability to take it to the house, and he has a couple of times. He's probably gone before the Bears see him, like I said. I think he's ranked the 5th best linebacker on Draft Buzz. But if teams agree with Draft Buzz and he has a good combine and he is as good as Jihad Campbell, yeah, he's definitely going to go pretty early. There's a very good chance the Bears don't see him, but, hey, like you said, Jihad was there at 25, so you never know if he's going to be there. I still personally think the Bears do pick a linebacker at 25, but we'll see. My biggest knock on him is that over half of his stats in 2025 came against just 3 teams: Mississippi State, Kentucky, and the Florida Gators. And if you throw in the 2 forced fumbles against San Jose State, that's practically his entire year. So he's probably going to wind up being a more of a spurty guy. Now, as a defensive end, that's not necessarily a bad thing because guys do rotate in and out, but that's something to consider, that he's not going to be a day in and day out super stud. He may have flashes or games that give you, some really insight on what his talent is, but I don't see him as an every play, every down, every game type of guy.
Is that it? Wrap it up.
I told you I'm keeping it short, dude.
The running game with a lot of these guys is coverage issues, man, and maybe that's just something that it takes a while to develop and transition to the NFL. But a lot of these guys have coverage issues, man.
Well, how about this, Kyle? How about I give you a Kyle that doesn't have coverage issues?
Is it a Kyle that's like 225 pounds?
It is a Kyle that's 200.
That's why he doesn't have coverage issues. He's the weight of a safety.
Does not have coverage issues. Mister out of Pitt, Kyle Lewis. I love this kid, man. I love this kid for a lot of reasons. Not only is he versatile, hybrid player for today's modern NFL. Man, does he do everything on a football field that you could possibly want? He jumps off the film. I'm going to throw some on right here where we go over Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis is, in one word, a baller, man. He's a prototype, like I just said, where modern NFL defenses are headed. A high-end athlete with legitimate coverage chops. He plays linebacker like a defensive back, attacks space like a heat-seeking missile. His Senior Bowl performance confirmed what we already see on tape, that he's not a niche player. He's a movable chess piece that can dictate anywhere he needs to in sub-package matchups. Verified 21-mile-per-hour game speed, 225 pounds, a little bit smaller as we just stated. He was on the Feldman freak list. Explosive lower body, 10'3" broad jump, twitchy, sudden mover, elite change of direction, plays faster than his testing numbers already suggest. He is a true sideline-to-sideline defender with burst, closes through throwing windows and erases angles in pursuit. Elite coverage linebacker, fluid hips, natural, confident in man, mirrors routes like in slot corners, excellent at the catch point, violent, reliable tackler in space and in the box, high-level blitzer with timing, bend, and closing speed, processes quickly. This kid, man, is unbelievable. 87.4 overall grade, 87 coverage grade, first in tackles for loss at linebackers, first in quarterback pressures among linebackers. The production matches the traits, boys. It absolutely does when it comes to Kyle Lewis. Areas to improve. He's not a classic take-on thumper versus NFL guards, and his size is going to limit him a little bit at his mic usage in some schemes. His best work comes in space rather than downhill traffic. Bears fit. Defensive coordinators will love matching him up on tight ends. A big problem that the Chicago Bears had this year was defending tight ends. This guy will erase that problem for you with no problem. Gotta love Kyle Lewis. Green Dog blitz packages, dime personnel flexibility, is really good with disguised pressure looks. His best scheme fit 4-2-5 or 3-3-5 base defenses. Heavy sub-package teams, aggressive, pressure-oriented coordinators like Dennis Allen, who like to style and don't have particularly clean matchups. They like to hide in disguise. This kid, man, just feels like someone Bears fans will fall in love with immediately. What the Bears game, best coverage linebacker on the roster the day one he steps on. Versatile across 3 or 4 roles, speed in the defense, which the Bears currently lack. There's a real path for him here in this offense. Right now, he is one of those my guy prospects I wrote. This profile I'm reading is also up at 4starchicagosports.com. I did this. He was one of the first guys I did. He plays very similar, and Kyle and I talked about this the other day. Kyle Hamilton and Nick Amenwari with his size at 225. That's why I have him down as a linebacker, but a hybrid safety where he can be versatile, play both roles if need be. You know, he could be a linebacker, apparently not next to Edmonds. He might take his spot. But again, I think there's a real path for this kid here in the Bears defense. I love Kyle Lewis. I think if you guys watch enough tape on him, you will too. Trust me on that.
Yeah, he gives me those Brian Branch, Nick Amenwari vibes, man, where it's like, hey, you want him to play nickel, he'll play nickel. You want him to play linebacker, he'll play linebacker. You want to play safety, he'll play safety. And like you said, Sean, that seems the way the NFL seems to be going. And I think every single team would love to have one of those guys, and certainly Dennis Allen, because we know that Dennis Allen's favorite thing about all of his players is adversity. They can do basically whatever he asks them to do. That is a guy to me that would fit right in on the Bears. And as we all know, every good sports team has a great Kyle. The next guy I did, man, this guy is a little intriguing. He hasn't played a ton of football, and he is very green. He's a guy that needs a lot of development, but people believe that his ceiling could be one of the best of any of the linebackers in this class. Josiah Trotter, 6'2", 237 pounds, out of Missouri. Draft buzz has him projected as a box linebacker. He's a 4.6, 140 time, projected late second round. Once again, I think that might move up to the early or mid-second round. Only 24 games played in college. I'm sure you guys know he's the son of Jeremiah Trotter, the 4-time Pro Bowler for the Philadelphia Eagles, the guy who was the anchor of that defense for a long time. I'd say his best fit for the Bears would be a weak side linebacker. His draft buzz overall rating is 85 out of 100. His tackling is 88, so not as high as the other guys, but or as high as CJ Allen, but definitely not bad. Not a handicap by any means necessary. His pass rush is 82. He's more even across the board. Run defense 93. His coverage right now is the worst grade of all at 52. But like I said, if you watch the tape and you listen to the people talk about him, and there's not a ton of tape out there on him, but if you listen to people talk about him, they believe that he's going to get much, much better in coverage, and he's going to be a damn good player in the NFL. His 2025, he also transferred from West Virginia in 2024 to Missouri in 2025. His stats at Missouri were 12 games played, 84 tackles, 43 solo, 13 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. So the 13 tackles for loss is huge. That's the most of anybody I did. I think he's a guy who can create havoc in the backfield. His NFL comparison is Dre Greenlaw, probably a little bit undersized, but still going to project to be a good player in the NFL. Some of his strengths: he has a less than 10% missed tackle rate in college. That's one of the best of any linebacker in college football. Put on the tape against South Carolina, you will see his linebacker who simply erases rushing lanes before they develop, processes run schemes at a level unusual for redshirt sophomore, diagnosing zone concepts and gap attacks almost before the ball is snapped. Attacks blockers with heavy, violent hands that generate immediate separation and knock linemen backward at the point of attack. Lower body strength is outstanding. Holds his ground against double teams and stays square while absorbing contact from climbing guards. That's another thing, man. He's listed at 237 pounds, but if you watch him hit some of these offensive linemen, he plays it. It looks like he plays at 250, 260. He's a strong man. Some of his weaknesses: his arms are a little bit short. We've talked about on this podcast 1,000 times.
Well, Campbell short.
A million different positions. I used to be like, I don't care, but it seems more and more like that's something that seems NFL teams should be concerned about. Lacks true sideline to sideline range, more explosive in short areas than fast across the field when plays string out wide. Coverage field remains a work in progress. Can be a tick slow to recognize route combination and gets stacked by athletic tight ends. But once again, guys, this is a guy who's very green. He's only played 2 seasons in college, and he got better from season 1 to season from 2024 to 2025. This is a guy where if you have patience and you're willing to develop him, I think this guy could turn into a very good player in the NFL if he can get better in coverage. I like what J2K said in the chat there. There's just not a ton of linebackers in this draft class who are like true middle linebackers who can do a little bit of everything, do everything well. There's a couple guys there, but they're probably going to be gone before the Bears draft. If you're looking for a guy who you can develop into being a damn good middle linebacker, a guy who you can develop into being a guy who can do it all, this is a guy you might want to look at, because he's, like I said, there's so much more development in this kid. He's young. He's really, really young. He was not, a lot of these guys now coming out are like, fifth year senior guys who played in the college for 5 years due to COVID. This is a guy who's going to be a developmental project, but if he does reach the ceiling that they say he's capable of hitting, playing just as good as his dad or his brother, this is a guy who could be a damn good player in the NFL, man.
I'm just going to say this. Never trust a Missouri Tiger. There's only one you can, and he's already on the team.
This is what I'll say about Trotter, man. Watch the tape. Like,
he's good.
this, and I understand there's some things he has to clean up, but you can see when you watch the tape that this kid is instinctive and he has a high football IQ and he plays with a lot of power for his size. I think if you can eliminate some of the bad habits and try to get him better in coverage where he's not it's tick too slow. He's too slow to recognize zone coverages. I think if you can work on that and fix that, you're talking about a guy who has the potential to be a late first round pick.
Yeah,
For sure. 100%.
I agree.
Speaking of, did you say Tigers, Sean? I don't have a Missouri Tiger, but I got an LSU Tiger.
You
This
got
is a
one
guy,
that I really
Sean,
like.
that you and I kind of fell in love with this dude here. The mustachioed, mullet-wearing LSU Tiger, Whit Weeks. Standing at
Love Weeks, dude.
a not so
That's a
impressive
terrible name.
6'2" and 225 pounds. He's not going to surprise you with his 40 either. I think he ran like a 4.6, but definitely manageable still with speed and size. You know, a bit of a leaner frame. So even at the 6'2", you can see quite a bit of strength and bursts at times of speed coming from that athletic frame. I think he's got great sideline to sideline speed, which is imperative for a middle linebacker. He's violent at the point of attack when he's tackling. He's not a bad pass rusher either. It's weird about this kid because he has an innate understanding of the game, and I'm not sure if it's like football IQ or just straight instincts, but he always seems to get to the ball when it's needed most. Tenacious, high motor, fearless, and aggressive, all great qualities for a middle linebacker. Not great numbers in 2025 due to a broken ankle, I think, against Ole Miss. But he actually played the rest of that game with a broken ankle. They found out later after the game that his ankle was cracked right down the middle. He then actually came back in a short college football season to play the season ender against Oklahoma. So his toughness is off the charts. You can't really complain about it. Honestly, when you look at this kid, you just want him on your team. He's the type of player that you want. As long as he can stay away from the injuries, he's a player that has a really high ceiling, but maybe also a really low floor, just because I'm not sure how well that size is going to translate. And his speed isn't great either. But, man, those instincts and his interview, I guarantee gets him probably third round, but, might even sneak into the second round. I love Whit Weeks.
Yeah, you know what? Watching
like
that
him
tape,
too.
he looks like a rah-rah guy, like the Energizer buddy for your team.
Yes.
Like Con
Yes.
Brisker kind of attitude. And you can't get enough of those guys in the NFL.
That's kind of what I
that guy
thought.
looks like he likes to hit people. For
Yes,
a living.
dude. He's exciting, man.
Yeah, he looks. Just watching the tape, he looks. I mean, I watched a little bit of him earlier. I didn't have a ton of time, but he did. I'm sorry, J2K. J2K said I was bursting through my. We're just running out of time here, man. There was so much Bears news today that we can't spend as much time on these profiles.
Yeah,
as we
we're
would
running
like.
through.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to sound mundane, but at the same time, Sean's probably got 68 guys to go here for the.
I'm gonna buzz through it.
I got more too.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason, I like that guy a lot, man. A lot. Dude.
I do too.
Watch his tape. If you haven't seen his tape, watch his tape, and you'll love him too. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
I'll dig into him. Yeah, from what I've seen, I like a lot, and I love those guys who bring that energy, man. I love those guys, dude.
My next guy is obviously Jake Galladay. Like this kid a lot. Former defensive end, turned linebacker. He's one of the more intriguing upside linebackers in this class. Like I said, a former edge rusher at Cincinnati. He brings a rare blend of size, length, downhill explosiveness to the second level. He looks the part of a modern NFL linebacker at 6'4", 240 pounds, long, rangy, violent at the point of contact, with clear development runaway still out of him. He still has a long way to go. This is a guy a little bit down the line, but you can see the traits. Like I said, what stands out immediately is that 6'4", 240 pound frame, explosive closing burst downhill, sideline to sideline range, physical pop on contact, with a real knock of power. When he hits you, you feel it. Natural feel as a blitzer, again, with natural hand usage, and that comes from, obviously, the switch from edge to linebacker. Areas of improvement, zone awareness. Eyes tend to get stuck in the backfield, hook and curls a little bit. Run game instincts are a tick behind. He's occasionally slow to diagnose the run plays, and lateral fluidness is lacking a little bit. So there are he is a player that needs development, but under a guy under Dennis Allen that could definitely be developed in this defense, and where I think he fits the best. is going to be as a Mike in the system, but he won't be a plug and play. He's going to be a guy you have to develop, a guy kind of like, I guess he'd probably be more of a Sam. I guess he'd be more of a Sam than anything, but strong side. But, he is going to take some time to develop. So if you are drafting him, don't expect your returns on day one. You know what I mean? He's going to be a guy that has the upside. You're going to have to learn. But again, under this coaching staff, I don't mind developing guys that have the traits. And like you said, explosive at the point of contact. He does need to learn how to diagnose, especially if he's going to play Sam, but he does set the edge well against tight ends. So there are some pluses. There's a lot of negatives. He's a project, but I think he would work well in this defense with Dennis Allen.
Well, he hits hard.
He definitely hits hard.
You watch that tape, he hits hard.
Who's the next one you got, Kyle? Or Jay?
Kyle, do you have more or no?
No, I'm done, man. Jason's
Oh, okay. I got two more. We should have time for both. My next guy up here, then my last guy might be, man, it is another favorite, but this guy here I'm going to talk about. It's just hard to look at defensive players. It's really hard and not always come back to the Michigan Wolverines. They're just a perennial great defensive squad. One of those guys in particular is Sean Barnum, 6'3", 244, pretty decent size there. Maybe not as fast at 4.55, but in this sort of a class, I think that's right where the top end is for everybody on his 40 time, that 4.45. Not the most opposing of frames, honestly. That 6'3", 244 doesn't look right to me. Might be a little overindulgent by the numbers there by Michigan, but his play shows up no matter what. He's relentless in pursuit of the quarterback, great gap instincts, a punishing hitter, and a fairly decent linebacker in coverage. You're probably drafting this kid more for his off-the-ball ability. You'll see him literally on the line a lot. His versatility and aggressiveness is what stands out. He can play in coverage. He can play off the ball as an edge rusher, or he can sit right in the middle and work his way sideline to sideline against slot receivers. That versatility is likely what's going to get him drafted earlier than his third-round projection. While his pass rushing ability is near elite for a linebacker, his coverage skills are not great. He's really good against the run, not perfect against the pass, but I honestly think that's mostly because he's just simply utilized off the ball. I think that capital of his skill set is what's probably going to make him go high. Against the run, too, is what stuck out to me, but because the Bears definitely need somebody to help against the run. And maybe he's an answer where you get this linebacker and you also have an edge rusher in this kid. And maybe that solves two problems with one player for the Bears. We'll see what happens, but I think the team's going to be pretty happy with this kid.
Yeah, he looks like you could line up a defensive end, man. He kind of has like that Micah Parsons way about him, man, where you can kind of put him. He's good at everything he does. And like you said, Jason, from Michigan, they're probably going to be damn good players, man.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Mr. I love big schools, and I want everybody to be drafted from big schools.
I love Colston Loveland.
I just hate Michigan and everything about Michigan. And since our boy J2K brought him up, he was on my list of guys that we wanted to fly through, that I want to fly through really quick. Kendall Daniels, linebacker, Oklahoma, 6'5", 245, real good athlete, converted safety, outstanding in zone coverage, eliminates screens, high IQ, wild versatility, good against good pass rush upside, not quite there yet. He does have to add a little bit more playing strength, but he's a really just linebacker. Really like this kid. Again, very athletic, great in coverage, physical in the run game, great blitzer, sideline to sideline, big playmaker, game changer, high football IQ, great leader on and off the field. Like this kid a lot. Didn't get any tape on him. These are just guys I wanted to fly through, but I agree with you, J2K. This is a guy that people could plug and play as a Mike. I like him a lot. Who's the next one you got, Jay?
Real quick, and I'll just say this kid here. What's really crazy is if you just do a simple AI search for Aiden Fisher scouting report, it says that he's called a human supercomputer. A supercomputer in human form when it comes to football IQ. That kind of stood out to me a little bit there, and I don't know how it wouldn't for anybody. But the Hoosier linebacker is gaining a lot of that, draft buzz as a high IQ productive defender. He's projected as a day 3 grade, probably rounds 5 through 7. But I think once he gets into that combine and people start interviewing and talking to him and seeing just exactly what kind of a brain they're dealing with, I think that comes up a little bit. He's a transfer from James Madison. It became an all Big Ten performer, known for stellar instinct, strong run defense, and special teams potential. So wasn't a stellar 5-star recruit, but turned in to be a national champion. He's a little bit smaller, 6'1", 232, but he's got speed. He's got a lot of underdog written all over him too. He's defied a lot of odds. I think 1 year at James Madison and 2 years in Indiana. He's had some pretty decent numbers. I think he totaled 321 tackles, 7.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. There's just something about him. He lost his father and then his stepfather before he got to college, and never let that stop him from achieving his dreams. What kind of a kid do you want on a team like Indiana that's an underdog? This kid's like the ultimate underdog, and I hope he continues that in his NFL career. But man, I don't know if he projects out as a solid middle linebacker. He might be more like a will linebacker, but the more and more you read about this kid, the more and more you're going to love him. He doesn't have the superimposing stats, but like we were saying before, he's a tackler. He will tackle. He will be in the right spot at the right time, and he will make a play for you. And you're not going to understand why, because he doesn't have all the physical traits, but he's got it all up here. Aiden Fisher's a guy that people should look out for, because I'm telling you, if he does fall the 5th or 7th round and the Bears take him, I'd be very happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually do like him too, and he was a guy I had an eye on my old sleeper list here. Another guy,
certainly at least a depth piece of anything, man. I mean, if he's going to go to the 5th or 7th round, I mean,
his brains, I think, get him on the. You remember Hunter Hillenmeyer, who had a long career, by the way, didn't have physical traits, but like a Princeton or Harvard smart dude.
There are scenarios in which football IQ is more important than athletic or physical traits.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at Peanut Tillman, right? Peanut Tillman wasn't the fastest or strongest guy ever, but he was just savvy. He was like, okay, I won't be the first one to attack it. You know what I'm going to do? Poof, ball's out. Ball's mine. Yeah. See you later. That's what you want.
Smart. Yeah.
Yep.
I have 2 quick ones. I have 4 guys left really quick, but they're super short. A guy I'm really pissed that did not get an invite to the combine and could remain a hidden gem, because I think he's an absolute stud in this draft, is Louisiana linebacker Jaden Duger, man. Listed at a little over 6'4", upwards of 250 pounds. Great in the box, great coverage, great speed, very good athlete. He can do it all, man. He's a great overall linebacker. Again, I think he's a hidden gem in this draft. He's a great tackler, big playmaker, game changer, field general. The fact that he did the NFL, they usually invite, I think, 326 kids. They only invited 319 this year, so they're short. They should slip this kid an invitation, because he deserves to be there to raise his stock. Check out his film. Check out his tape. Jaden Duger is an absolute stud. I'll fly through one more really quick. I'll turn it back over to you, Jay. Micah Gay out of Jackson State, a former standout at Tennessee State. He transferred to Jackson State ahead of 2025. He brings experience, physicality, high level of production to the Tigers defense last year. Explosive first step, physical downhill linebacker, sideline to sideline range, strong in the box, reliable tackler in space, high motor, relentless pursuit, playmaker in coverage. And I forgot to look up if he got an invite to the combine, so I apologize for that. Jay, you got another one?
I do not. I am done.
2 more. Harold Perkins Jr. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who he is. True Swiss Army knife, can line up at edge linebacker, can even play safety, flashes real coverage ability, dropping into zone, relentless motor, plays every snap like it's 4th and goal. Watch his tape. His closing burst is legit as anyone in this draft. Another guy, they have him as a late day 2, early day 3 pick. I don't understand. I think because of some of the concerns, sometimes he overruns plays because he's so aggressive. He can struggle in stacking and shredding bigger linemen. He needs to develop counter moves as a pass rusher, and he is coming off of a torn ACL. I do like this kid, though. He's a Swiss Army knife that coaches would really, really like. The last kid that I have is Drew Watts, the Nevada transfer, was in Memphis last year. He's a 5th-year kid. I think he's underrated. He did get invited to the combine, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't look like I wrote that down. Son of a bitch. But he did record 258 tackles, 152 solo, 30 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, 2 interceptions prior to his final season moving over. So he was a big-time playmaker when he came over. He's very athletic, great in pass coverage. He used to play DB, very physical in the run game, great blitzer, another sideline-to-sideline guy. Really, really like Drew Watts out of Memphis. I'll have to look and see. But this guy, Kyle, is another guy kind of built out of the same Nick and Warry, Kyle Hamilton. He plays at about 215, 220. So he has that hybrid like safety ability. So there's I'm just going to say this is – you may not find Ray Lewis or Brian Urlacher, but I think in this draft you're going to find some really damn good contributors on your football team, man. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the NFL is going, outside of defensive tackles and corners, these guys, the nickels, safeties, and linebackers might all be those type of guys.
Yeah,
just you could put them wherever you want and let them eat, man. Especially with the way Nick and Eamon Warry has taken the NFL by storm. Kyle Hamilton's probably now the best safety in the NFL. I mean, the NFL is changing, man, and they want them all to be versatile and they want them all to be athletic. And when you get those guys to 220, 225, 230. Those guys can basically play as long as they're fast. They can play basically wherever you want them to. And to be honest with you, man, it's almost I feel like Brian Branch kind of started it all, man.
Yeah. The Swiss Army knife,
freak of nature, man.
Hey, I'll end the show with one scouting report on a former Bear, and then you guys tell me who it is. Widely regarded as having unparalleled ability to diagnose plays instantly, allowing him to dominate opposing offenses and navigate traffic to find the ball. Possesses the 6'3", 245-pound frame needed to dominate in the trenches, effectively fighting off double teams while also having the speed for sideline-to-sideline pursuit? No. Exceptionally agile for his size, capable of covering running backs and tight ends on passing plays. Known for playing with bone-jarring intensity in both games and practices, often manufacturing anger to maximize his performance. And the last clue I'll give you is, during his 9 seasons in the NFL, recorded 22 interceptions and a then record 27 fumble recoveries, 25 of them forced.
That's Briggs.
Nope.
Yeah, I was going to say 6'3", 2.
Hall of Famer.
I'm trying. Mike Singletary.
Nope.
Hall of Famer. 6'3", 245.
Yeah, J2K. He says is it a Bears player?
Oh, it's definitely a Bears player.
All 9 years?
All 9 years.
All 9 years?
And the Bears? I don't know, man.
One just recently passed away, Mr. Dick Butkus.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were going back that far.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the relentless, anger, manufacturing anger, I thought that might have given away. In the scouting report, it said coming out of Illinois, and I didn't want to say that because
and you said practices like he plays. I should have said Dick Butkus because I've read a bunch of stories about how his teammates hated him on practice.
Yeah,
Hey boys, next week draft room gonna roll out with safeties.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I am excited to talk about Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo, and I know the chat's gonna probably agree with me. But when you look at safeties, man, that dude could go 25 and be the next Nick Warry. I'm telling you right now, man. This kid is.
Sean,
check out his tape, bro.
Sean, if there's a Nick Warry there at 25, you fucking draft him because I literally had an article written about if you don't have a rooting interest in the Super Bowl, if you don't give a shit about the Seahawks and Patriots, watch the Super Bowl and watch number 3. Watch that guy because there's a very good chance that in the next couple of seasons you could be talking about the defensive player of the year. He's just special, man. He's different.
Witherspoon had a really good game too. Their defense is good.
Yeah, well, and you know what? And Witherspoon's awesome. But what's impressive about Nicky Warry is he's a rookie. He plays like he's been playing in the NFL for 10 years, bro.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And there was one drive in that Super Bowl. I think it was a 3-and-out by the Patriots that Nicky Warry knocked down all 3 passes.
Yeah,
all 3 passes in a row.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is just all over the place, man. He's all over the place. His football IQ is insane through the roof. And he's a massive physically imposing player who can fly. He absolutely can fly.
Yep.
I love Nicky Murray, man, and what a
Hold on, I got a
amazing
question.
pick by the Seattle Seahawks.
J2K, if he's number 2, who do you have number 1? Because he's my number 1 right now. He's AJ Hockley might be my number 2.
Oh, who's down? What's Downs?
Oh, Caleb. Oh, yeah, duh. Sorry, I forgot about him.
Downs would be your number 1.
Caleb Downs is 1. Then I have Warren, and then I have Hockley. I don't have the list in front of me. I completely forgot about Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying Downs.
Here, listen, I'm
top
forgetting
5.
about players the Bears have no chance at. I don't even think about
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's weird to be a Bears fan and you're like, well, I got a chance of that guy. I got a chance of that guy. That guy's
Yeah,
not
you know
gonna
what?
play.
I haven't even done a draft profile.
I'm saying Downs is a top 5 pick, man.
Yeah. The only reason I did Sonny Styles is because I love Sonny Styles. I love watching him all season, and I honestly I put him number 1 on my board, dude.
Sean, I did that mock draft, the Daniel Jeremiah 2.0. He had him at 15. I mean, that if you really love him that much and you think he's a game changer, you could trade up to 15. It's probably going to cost you. It's going to be pretty.
There's
pretty
a lot of
pricey.
things I would do to have Sonny Styles tackling on the lakefront on
I
Sunday.
guess it depends how special. It depends on how special you think you think he's that special, where he's going to be one of the best. He's the best player in your defense for the next 11 years, 12 years. Is that not worth some draft capital?
I do. I believe he will be.
Plus,
I believe he's going to be top 3 in this draft. I really do.
With Caleb Williams on a rookie contract, you need to start getting aggressive. It's time for the Bears to start being aggressive. You want to match that Seattle Seahawks team? You want to match that Los Angeles team? You want to stick out in the NFC? It's time for you to start adding blue chip quality talent.
You know what it is, though, Kyle? I was thinking about this before the other day. Being aggressive in the draft is great, but I think being accurate is more important.
Well, I'm not even necessarily saying the
Ruben Hippolyte. Somebody mentioned him earlier.
I'm not even necessarily saying in the draft. I'm talking about like operating out of your comfort zone.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Chicago sports teams, not just the Bears, have always been so blah, so vanilla. Like, oh, we'll keep our pick. We'll stay here. We're not going to move on.
I'd like to have more draft picks, to be perfectly honest.
It might be, and the Bears have a good foundation, right? This offense is going to be here for a long time, but it might be time for the Bears to start getting more aggressive, start adding guys who are absolute game wreckers. Like you need, if you're not going to get a Max Crosby in free agency or via trade, you might have to find a way to get one in the draft.
Yep.
And the guys we just talked about are awesome, but they're not Sonny Styles.
No.
Yeah.
I honestly, if I'm ranking them, I'm not sold on any of these quarterbacks. But I am curious, because I don't think we're going to do quarterbacks at any time. But J2K, I'd like to have a conversation with you about Cole Payton and see what you think about Cole Payton. He's a quarterback from, I believe it was Toledo. I started watching his tape the other day because one of these draft analysts says they believe that he could be the second best quarterback in this class. So I started watching him. He's actually pretty impressive. Like I'm kind of impressed.
Well, if he's pretty impressive, then he's probably going to be the best quarterback.
Is he better than Tyson Bagent?
I got a lot of questions about old Mr. Fernando.
I don't like Fernando. I don't think he's the answer.
I am not drafting him to save my franchise.
Sorry, I just looked up his profile. I'm working on it.
And you know what? How many times we've seen this, guys, where it's not a very strong quarterback class. So these teams reach for guys who would probably be the 4th or 5th quarterback
just because they're a quarterback.
If he was drafted in the same draft as Jane Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Mendoza would be what, number 6, number 7?
I'm with you. I looked at the running backs. I looked at the wide receivers just because I'm a wide receiver guy, and I think this wide receiver class is spectacular. I think this wide receiver class coming in from Denzel Boston to Concepcion to Carnell Tate to Mekhi Lemon. I mean, this wide receiver class is really nice, man. Really, really nice.
Yeah, I have not looked. I don't think outside of left tackle, I don't think I've looked at a single offensive player in this draft.
Oh, and by the way,
by
the way, I'll just go on record and say I think Jordan Tyson is going to be the best of the bunch. I think there's a lot of good ones, but I'll go on record right now. I think Jordan Tyson is going to be the best of the bunch.
I've watched a lot of
months ago.
I've watched a lot of Jeremiah Love tape, but he's just one of those guys.
I'm
not watching him because I think the Bears are going to draft him. I just love watching Jeremiah Love tape.
Well, if I had to rank players in this draft, Jeremiah Love and Sonny Styles are probably 1-2 for me. Honestly, I think Jeremiah Love is outstanding.
That run little 4-yard run he had. That's
At
that went
the goal
viral.
line.
That went viral. Yeah, the one that
Dude, that
literally
was-
rips through the whole team.
Yeah.
When they put like that opera music in the background, it's like watching art, dude. It's amazing. There was a guy sitting at the bar at River Street the other day, and he's like, I don't know much about the draft. I just wait till they get drafted. I don't know anything about any of these prospects. I'm like, well, Jeremiah Love's a guy you might want to watch because if he somehow ended up on a team like the Chiefs, talking about a game wrecker, and he was like, oh, I haven't seen any tape of him. I'm like, well, just watch this one run. And he was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, dude. And he does that shit all the time, bro.
He definitely gives me Gibbs Bijan vibes, man, because he's violent. He can run you over, and he can juke. He can spin.
He actually
around
reminds me more of
There's not
Saquon.
much he can't do.
He reminds me a lot of Saquon.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He runs angrier than his size. Like you look at Saquon and go, man, that guy's huge. He's Derrick Henry, but Saquon will run you the fuck over if you give him the chance.
He's from the hometown area, right? We always bring him in for a free interview just for say hi.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't count towards your top 30.
I got beat up by the chat for saying I would trade everything up to get Jeremiah Love. If you want Gibbs or a Bijan on your team, a guy who changes your offense instantly, it's him, man. And I am so excited for Love to get on a team. I just hope it's not in the NFC, and especially
where's he going right now?
NFC North.
He's probably, where's he going?
He's top
probably
five. Top 5. Yeah.
That's
I don't
too
know.
far high for the Bears to go up and get him.
Oh, wait. The Bears have no chance in hell, and I'm okay with it because we won the division. But I'll tell you, if the Bears would have dropped the ball this season and been at the top of this, I would have all my chips in on either Sonny Styles or Jeremiah Love because I think both of them change the franchise. I really do.
I mean, it's going to be a team that doesn't need a quarterback that has a pretty good like. Imagine if the Giants had Cam Scadaboo and Jeremiah Love.
Giants are actually
with Malik Neighbors and Jackson Dart, bro, and that defensive line. Yeah.
I'll tell you this too, man. Don't rule out them picking a wide receiver to match with Neighbors because Neighbors is going to be out. And this is a great class.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Neighbors has injury woes, so you might have to just based off of depth, you might have to draft wide receiver in case Malik Neighbors misses another 4 or 5 games this year.
I'm really pissed at the Giants.
Keep an eye out for that Giants team, man. I'm telling you guys. I know I've talked about this in almost every podcast we've done. That team, if Harborough plays his cards right, that team could be good immediately.
I got him winning the division. I got him pulling the Bears.
Me too.
I got him pulling the Bears.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think the Eagles and Cowboys are rough spots right now, man. They got a lot of shit to do.
I don't know if I'm going to keep Saquon, man. Hey, everybody. Until next time, we'll be back next Wednesday doing safeties and all the Bears chatter that's ringing around. We'll be talking about it. And next week we'll be into the combine. So maybe
next week there will probably be a ton of guys who have been franchise tagged across the NFL.
Yes.
Plenty of conversation.
Thank you, J2.
Yep.
And not only that, don't forget tomorrow night about 11:30, the boys will be back. Bare minimum. Go check them out.
What if you can't? You don't have time because it's a long show.
I would say I'd watch it on the way to work in the morning and then finish the show on my way home from work in the morning.
Okay. That sounds better. Yeah.
Figures.
And Kyle, are we gonna do a Sunday night Northside 9?
No, I'm in, man. I'm in. I'll
I
talk
think we should
all day, bro.
Here, guys. I know
day.
most of the people have left because we've been running forever, but we are switching. I like it, Kyle, because I think now we go through all the way through the week. We start on Sunday with the fresh week ahead instead of doing what we were doing last week, talking about, they finished the week on Sunday.
Good idea.
Yeah, now we got the whole week ahead. It's going to be fun. I got like 7 pages of Cub notes since we had.
I have done a lot of reading about the Chicago Cubs. A lot. I'm ready for baseball season. I'm ready for baseball season. People are like,
there's games next week, bro.
I love the Olympics. I'm like, I'm ready for baseball season.
I'm ready.
Hey, by the way, everybody, everyone who's left in the chat, man, tomorrow the USA women are going for gold in hockey against Canada. I know it's the Olympics, but it's one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. Just look at the history. The men will play on Friday versus Slovakia to try and earn a spot in the gold medal game, probably against Canada on Sunday to close out the Olympics. I got 3 letters. USA! Come on, baby. Bring home those golds, baby. I'll tell you, dude, I don't know if you were watching hockey today, But that hockey today was outstanding. Every game went to overtime. Every game to get to play.
And Canada won by the skin of their teeth, man.
Yeah, dude.
The skin. I'm like, oh my God, Canada's gonna be eliminated. The USA's winning gold. And then Canada scores that goal with like 2 minutes left. I'm like, damn it.
Dude,
imagine if
Jay,
Bedard was on that team.
check the highlight of the end of that game, dude. Mitch Marner steals the puck. He's surrounded by 3 Czech players, somehow puts a top shelf around these dudes to close out that. I was like, holy shit, that was I don't know how he did it. He backhanded it too. Top shelf over the shoulder. It was insane.
You're right about one thing, man. If Connor Bedard wants to be the best in his class, he better start playing pretty damn well, because that Celebrini kid is amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
He's amazing, dude. Three points today for Canada. 3 points. That kid's amazing, dude.
We're gonna see him. I forgot who advanced to play Canada, but I know we play Slovakia on Friday, and then Sunday we'll beat Slovakia. I'm not worried about Slovakia. We'll beat Slovakia. Germany's tough, dude. I think Germany's a way better team. Germany's the only team to have a gold or silver in the last 20 Olympics.
Yeah, but that's this year, bro. Not this year, bro. Germany's
their women's team is awful.
Yeah.
Germany's been getting their asses whooped this year, man. What did the USA beat? 6-0? 6.
No.
Dude, Germany just took them to overtime, dude. They almost just beat us.
I looked at a score the other day, and Germany got their asses whooped, bro.
If the women's team lost 15-1 or something like that, it was ridiculous.
They played their ass off today. That was the Canada game. The Canadian game was fun, and the USA game was fun today. I know that not everyone likes hockey, dude, but this is some good shit, man. And we're playing for pride of country. So USA, let's go, baby.
Love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man.
Until next time.
Good, better, better. Never let it rain. Never let it rain. You're going to get better. You're going to get better. You better get better. You better get better. Bears on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, man. Love y'all. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for showing up, hanging out. You guys are the stars of the show. You guys rock. Thank you so much.
Bear down.
Peace and bear down.